Stars too high, clouds too high, clouds too high, wounded skies.
The truth, the truth, the truth shall set you free.
All right, hello and welcome back to the Geek Out Podcast. So we're going to go over here results, some of our opinions on what went down, some of the results there, and some of your thoughts and how we feel about that. And then we'll roll on over from there to some of the announcements some of the games that were announced at the Game Awards, and let it all roll.
Yeah. Not that big of a thing. If you watched the last episode, you already know what most of our opinions and thoughts on what we voted for. So I'm probably just gonna be upset about everything that didn't get voted that I wanted. It's fine. I'm a strong loser.
Yeah, we don't have to go through every single one. I mean, I feel like
I just voted important ones.
obviously we'll start with okay, we won't start with that. We'll come back to the game of the year because I have some things about that. But let's see, we'll go best game direction. Astrobot took that for the win. I mean,
What?
I mean. I'm not necessarily mad at it. Astrobot, like I said, was its own. I don't know. As far as like a giant game, I mean, I feel like with it being against like Final Fantasy and Metaphor and Black Myth there, as far as game direction went, I didn't see it being as the winner, but the public has spoken. Do you have any thoughts on that?
There's the things that they won were one part interesting and two part I feel very timing based, if that makes sense. Like while I was watching, I was going crazy. I was just like, oh yeah, Sony bought these guys big time. Like, but then I also had to remember that this was like the biggest talking point besides Balatro, maybe for like a good month before the like award show started. So I was like, I know a lot of people that are just probably voting based on like what's in their head at that point in time. Like, oh, I haven't had fun all year except for an Astrobot, even though they probably played Elden Ring about 4 or 5 months ago and thoroughly enjoyed that. But not much you can do about it. I just feel like it was the biggest thing that people were talking about, and this is definitely more of an industry show than it feels like it is one for fans at this point. So, yeah. And also, I can't see the votes. It did make me think about like, yeah, yo, we should start doing like a split, like with these companies or people are there in the background that also vote. These people on the board, let's give them a vote, and then let's have like votes for the normies as well. Like you can win the People's Award and then the Industry Award.
That's fair. That'd be interesting to do it like American Idol style.
You know,
Still have the judges winning out, but you also have like the people's choice. Okay. Then moving right along. Best narrative. Metaphor took narrative. Um, I mean, honestly, it was only against really Final Fantasy. I don't think Like a Dragon, though I know the Yakuza series is known for. Um, I mean, I think it's actually known for its story and like just like some of its
it is drama.
I just still don't think it's like has that big of a following, and that I feel like it's a very like niche game. Um,
Yeah.
like there's obviously it has a big following, but like I don't think it's like a mainstream game. That makes sense. Well, it's still a it's like it's still I don't know how to explain it. I just don't see like every hurts everybody picking up and playing it. That makes sense. Even though I know it has a big following and whatnot, I know a lot of people play it. It just doesn't seem like a typical game that somebody would say like, "Oh yeah, I've been playing the Yakuza series." You know, like you're like,
Yeah, I feel like it exists with. I feel like the best thing to say it exists with are like sports games.
mm,
It's it's in the zeitgeist of video games. Like people know what that series is, but the communities that wouldn't buy 2K would definitely probably be playing that game, and then vice versa. The ones that would be playing that game are probably not going to buy 2K. Like, so those communities are very different, and the 2K community is much bigger for that purpose. It garners like a bunch of normies that don't play like video games.
mm,
I feel like the Yakuza series is a video game. Like it's a bunch of arcaded gameplay scenarios and like fun comedic moments in its gameplay outside of its extremely dramatic moments in a story. And that studio in of itself, it feels like it always does that with
mm.
the types of games that they make. So, and with that series in general, so it has its own audience definitely. And then those people that have probably been like pouring in over the years for title after title after title. I just don't think their audience is very loud, and that's what kind of does it. They're not they're not very loud, you know, and they also play other games probably like Metaphor. And for me, I didn't play Yakuza, but I probably had still voted for Metaphor. But I feel like Metaphor is one whole story in one sequence, and Yakuza like a dragon or Yakuza Zero and all these other, they're all like connected to a degree. So you are just getting like a piece or segment of a whole storyline and sequence. You may love that whole storyline and sequence, but how did you feel about this one part?
That's
Yeah,
fair.
I feel like Metaphor deserves that one, I guess.
I know, especially the ones that was up against, like, if it was up against Black Myth and that, I think I probably would have given it to Black Myth there.
I
Um,
definitely would have given it to Black Myth.
just because, like, come on, you're literally going against the Journey to the West, like you're literally going to against the continuation to the Journey to the West, like it's hard to follow that up. Like one of the almost original stories of all time, one of the oldest stories of all time, being continued upon in a video game is crazy in itself. But we'll get into more of um, Black Myth when we get to its W. Let's see. Next up, we've got Best Art Direction. Metaphor took this one. I gotta say, I mean, I don't dislike it, but at the same time, I feel like none of the archetypes are cooler than any of the fucking Persona style that I've seen.
Okay, that's I was wondering where you were going with that.
So like, and like, it's not to say that it's still not cool, but come on, Black Myth Wukong was insane in the art direction, everything like the Chinese stylings, the like the attention to like the original storytelling and whatnot. Like I follow a in fact, let me pull it up so I can say exactly what it is. I follow a couple of Chinese YouTubers just so I could get like the full rundown of like the backstory of like Journey to the West and whatnot from like a native learner who like does this regularly. What's her name?
Well, eh, I don't know. I feel like these things are so opinionated driven when it comes down to art direction. I kind of just leave it up to that. It's really hard for me on those topics. Like I feel, in my personal opinion, I thought Neva looked the most like artistically creative out of the bunch, but I knew it probably wasn't winning. It is what it is.
Avenue X. Yeah. Love her videos. I was already watching some of her videos before. She does a lot of like K dramas and whatnot as well, like breakdown. But she did like a full breakdown, like chapter by chapter, and like comparing it to like the chapters in the story from the Journey to the West and everything that they originated from. and what they likely mean as far as like the continuation of those stories and whatnot, and like who each of those characters are and whatnot. Like even going down to like the like what they're wearing and what it means like religiously and everything. It's or culturally, um, and like they're like hour, 2 hour long episodes, and I'd just be like stuck. So yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, so like that, I just so I know I just have more appreciation just for the Black Myth will come storytelling just due to um
Is that like art direction? Or is that just
yeah, that's because that's where they get like the actual like so like what's it from Journey to the West and whatnot like so like they have like they have like the like actual story and like drawings depiction so like even like the storybook fucking hideout that you have that was literally a painting that you come to life or whatnot like all the things that you see in the game and it are like all callbacks to the story and like pulled from directly from the culturalness so like they're like culturally representative of like what they would look like in the actual um books and everything. So like it's not even just necessarily like their own like depiction of it. Like it's down there like a full on like spiritual continuation of the journey to the west. Just like obviously it takes some of its liberties and whatnot.
yeah?
But like
Because you're saying in total that the game's visual identity is boosted for you simply because of how well it does a good job at presenting its original like base, like is where it comes from.
yeah, that was it. Like so like 'cause, like you can literally go back without like it's almost like the game has a prequel to it. Like you would have had to like not have yeah you would have like if you would have read the Journey to the West and everything and like know these stories and whatnot beforehand, you would have gotten like a whole different experience on the first initial playthrough. 'Cause, like especially like when you do like the whole beginning portion of it and all of that, coming down from the Iron Mountain and whatnot. And knowing like you're the Buddha, you know the Buddha essentially, and like the fighting Buddha and all this, and like you're on the way and you're fighting against like the celestial 13 celestial kings and whatnot that are like other deities that have also reached Buddhahood that are like that have also worked with you and like it's so because like during the game you get so many of these cuts where it looks like it's either the past happening or like I can't tell if it's like the future or like a past life in general because like different outcomes are happening like at one point they're fighting together then all of a sudden he's fighting them when I'm like what is happening here so like getting those whole breakdowns like all those stories and whatnot I'm like oh this isn't even just like them depicting like the actual story beforehand. Like this is like also continuations and like them giving a like creative like a creative visual on the story and how each chapter ended. So like so like as you obviously like at the end of each chapter you have like those animations that happen that are all different stylized and whatnot that like have something cadence like something to do with what that last chapter was about, of course. But not only is it breaking that down, it's also adding cadence and like bringing the comparison to like the original story and where that's coming from and where that pulls from. So like for instance with the spider chapter where you're the fucking pig guy gets like has like obviously some history with the spider or whatever. And then they have like the whole animation and the thing where like they met in some place or whatnot and so all this random shit happens and you're just like oh this is beautiful and lovely like you kind of get like okay looks like they were torn lovers or whatever and like something happened and then they got together finally but like they're just never meant to be whatever but like getting the whole breakdown of this shit it makes that whole segment of that section so but because it already feels sad to begin with. But like getting like the literal like breakdown of like what the whole story is in general, like it's literally like it's literally like Romeo and Juliet almost, but like way more BS happens in between. Instead of them just beating the first 3 days and like them killing each other, it was literally when he was so first off, the pig chief guy, the little short guy with the rake. He was initially an actual god at one point before he was what he is now, and he was as he was almost he was still the same similar in personality. He as he was in like the in heaven or whatnot, he looked upon one of the goddesses of the moon, one of his wives or whatever, the god of the moon's wives, whatever, and so he gets damned to the earth, and he gets reborn as he's supposed to be reborn as a human. But instead, when he's reborn and they ask what he wants to be reborn as, you get to like choose. He puts it's like a misspelling, something like that. So instead of putting like the characters for human, he puts down the characters for pig, and so he gets born. His spirit is like born. It's supposed to be born as a pig, but he's born into a human woman. So that's why he comes out half disheveled or whatnot.
Hmm. I just feel like it's unfortunately this is also a thing like this is like Dark Souls, right?
Mhm.
When war shows were going on while the Dark Souls series were coming out, they weren't winning very many art direction like things.
Mhm.
They won one, I believe, for Dark Souls 3, but that was like that first big one that became like well known by the masses to a degree.
Mhm.
1 and 2, which had the same genuine art style to it, for some reason were not seen or accepted on the same stage, right? But then you have Elden Ring, and when that popped off, it popped off. I think Elden Ring won. I'm pretty sure they won it in 2022. They won Best Art Direction, and that's was I thought a really big ask, in my opinion. I always feel like it's difficult to ask people if you're gonna like pick art direction. The way you see art direction is perfect. That's what art direction is. It's all versions of the creatives coming together and putting it together to formulate a direction in which the project will follow. So that includes the historical presence that you take it from, like for instance in Ubisoft, their art direction does also include the fact that they recreate an entire city in Italy. If they're doing that and they do it historically for that time period and they recreate, that's part of their art direction. You may not like it, you may not think that's a thing because their art style is just realism, is what somebody will say, but that's art direction. That's part of it. The ability to do that and to do it so accurately. And it's the same thing with Wukong. I think that was kind of missed a bit in this election cycle. Honestly, it really does. It honestly just feels like people just really liked metaphor.
I think they just voted for their favorite series in that sense
Yeah, I
because
think they just really
I am a big Atlas Shinigami Tensei Persona guy. Trust me, we know who I mean when it comes to the Persona series or whatnot. And this was like as close to a Persona game as you unless you put like Persona Q right in front of it. Like yeah, this was closer to one of them than one of them. So like yeah, it's a Persona game essentially, but at the same time, like I said, like I feel like for one, that main character is literally is the main character from Persona 3. I don't care what you say. He was the main character from 3. And matter of fact, he's not only the main character from 3, he's the main character with 3 fused with Aegis. That is literally what he is. It is Aegis and the main character. They just said, "Fuck it, let's just take the two stories from 3 and just smash them together." Like, because
I
the,
do get your opinion on that one. I had the same feeling the first time I saw the character. I was like, he looks just like the Persona 3 protagonist here. But in my opinion, I also feel like the I can't remember his name right now, but the guy from Persona 5 looks just like the guy from Persona 4. Yeah, I can't remember his name.
I see what you mean on that one. It's not far off.
It's the
It's
fact that they have the same voice actor that does it.
that's.
It's actually they don't look exactly the same, but because they sound the same, it just gets my brain.
I mean, that's essentially tallish. One, I think one is just sort of. I think one is, and they got like one has like the grayish black hair, while the other one has like the full like stark black shirt, and then one is. I think one of them actually wears glasses all the time, while the other one is just his.
Yeah, it's even Kenji was a weird dude.
And then the guy in Vibe actually smiles. You like does like a, does his little. While the guy from Vibe does the whole. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wasn't talking about the main character. This is the main character's best friend in both of them. So
Oh, you're talking about Junpei and not Junpei.
Junpei and Junpei is in
Three.
the guy in 4, who's the first one who's Shadow, whose name I just cannot remember, but he
Yosuke.
along with Yosuke, and then the guy from 5, who's just the first guy that you meet who just does not leave you alone. Who also has blonde hair.
I know who you. I see him and I don't know his name.
Yeah,
That was I would say Persona 5 was the only one I played once because there was literally no reason to play it more than once.
I'm not gonna lie, I did play Persona 5 Royal. So I had Persona 5 and then I played Royal, and I didn't like the extra stuff.
I was going to play Royal until I found out that all the Royal stuff was like dungeon specific. So
it's definitely some story stuff on there. It's the same as the Persona 4 one, to be honest.
I know it like adds introduces, but like what I mean
the narrative.
what I mean like it like you I thought like you could only use the new character in her specific dungeon.
No, you don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even think you use her.
Oh yes, okay, yeah.
She is period just a new character in the game. Almost as similar. Her role is similar to the detective who tries to fucking kill you multiple times. She's not. She's just a new character, but she's an introduction to a plot device that switches up the ending, which I enjoyed because I hated the ending of the original one, and this one.
Interesting.
I enjoyed the extra content that I got.
Okay, I might check out Royal then. I'll see. Because the ending, like I said, we come from 3 and 4 where obviously I enjoyed 3 more, so I enjoyed the struggle. No, okay, I won't say I enjoyed the struggle. I enjoyed the struggle when I had when I was able to actually control their abilities and like what they do in fights. But as far as like the other mechanics, I actually enjoyed like being able to like reverse arcanas and shit. If you don't talk to people like in a normal enough manner, I was like, oh, just like finding stuff out about that, like that, just like that was just like wild. But at the same time, it's just like it adds a nice little flair to like, okay, I really have to like manage the fuck out of these people. And I'm glad in Reload they kind of did the same. Well, not the same. Like they got rid of like the negative rollout, but like.
But they brought all that back, HDified it, made the game look, feel, and it was kind of different, but at the same time, the same.
Same.
I enjoyed it.
Yes,
that's nostalgia bait, but they switched it up a little.
Oh yeah.
But even from that, like just on our direction, that to me is kind of where most of the time I feel like those things are going to end up being lost in translation a little bit. Like I think last year, Lies of P was in there, and Lies of P is a really good art direction as well. But it wasn't gonna beat something like Alan Wake 2, which was really, really unfortunate.
And like, and Alan Wake 2 really just boosted itself up because like, well, no, I can't. See, it's hard because especially where it comes where like the narrative piece of that goes very hard, especially like where it comes like the Alan Wake's actual story involves like the actual.
If you look at the story of Alan Wake, how that story literally folds into the game, how the gameplay literally starting a new game every time.
Oh, we probably need a whole Alan Wake game control episode because like Alan Wake 2 was an absolute insane mindfuck of a narrative in general. To literally have characters that are not only characters in the game, to have their voice actors, characters, their real life footage of them as characters in a show in the game, that's talking about the game. So the game is a real product in the world of the game that's based off the real world. To have the character that plays the voice of that character be playing an actor in a movie that's of that character of the person that they're playing, but not of the actual actor in the game.
Yeah, I just decided I wasn't gonna follow all that.
It was insane.
That another thing, art direction. To me, like that's just how those things work. Like, but when it's given to you and you can see it and you can pick it apart in that medium of what it is, it's so much easier for most people to get into it that way. So I feel like you're starting harder when it's out, and that's I think the difference between why Elden Ring was still able to kind of do that while still having genuinely almost the same art direction style for the last like 7 games in that kind of genre. It's okay for them because the things that trigger it are what's in that world. So every new world or every new game, the settings is going to be slightly different, and that's going to be what really ticks those lore nerds. But it's in the game rather than you having to have had another bit of knowledge outside of it. For most normies or for people who may not be as invested in what the art direction of a game is, they're not going to vote for that often because they're not seeing it and it's not registering. Well, they're seeing it, but it's not registering in their brain the same way as it would for someone who's of that culture. But we can get more into why that's so painful when we get to like the game of the year one because they had their own. Even the developers had their own feelings on that one.
Mhm. All right, so we'll move on from there. Best score in music, we don't spend too much time on. I mean, Final Fantasy Rebirth. I mean, I feel like it was really up between two things. Between that, well, three. Between that Metaphor and Stellar Blade, I think, as far as the score and music went. Astrobot had its fun little, music and whatnot, but like it was all that was just.
Yeah, I wasn't honestly. I don't. I'm not the biggest fan of that type of music most of the time. Anyway, like I get a lot of people who are really big into like the Mario jams and stuff like that. That's like their things. For me, I don't. Some of them, yeah, like it'll be a bop. And Sonic is a bop. I'm sorry, it is, but like,
Now, Sonic soundtrack is different though, but that's
you know what I'm saying. Not all those get me, but like Sonic has had it for me when I was a kid. Mario's never really got me all like that. And Astrobot soundtrack was okay, but yeah, that's all I got for you. I don't have the biggest opinions on like other like video game scores and stuff, but Final Fantasy score to me is what I'm normally used to listening to. If I'm going to go out and listen to a score or a soundtrack for something, like I'll still go and listen to Full Metal Alchemist soundtrack every once in a while, or Interstellar because I enjoy that sometimes, or even the first season of Stranger Things I think has a pretty decent score.
Okay.
But when it comes down to like video games, it's going to be it has its own different things. I think Alan Wake's score is pretty good. I love The Last of Us and its music. I think it's 10 out of 10. Horizon Zero Dawn as well, even though some people don't pay attention to it. I think
I mean, that's their own fault. They shouldn't drop things when bigger things drop, okay? I don't know what to tell you.
Tsushima, same thing, a really good score. But when some people just don't pay attention to it, or it is what it is. I do think it was a good shot. I think Silent Hill had a good run for it if they could have possibly gotten it, but horror games, so most of its scores just.
I mean, I feel like it would have. I feel like it would have done better for best audio design, but the winner, a winner of that was justified. So
Yeah,
we'll just roll straight into that anyway.
Yeah, I think it's justified.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As far as well, like the other people in that one, but then rolling over to best audio design, Senua Saga Hellblade 2 took the cake, like I expected, because holy shit. I mean, I knew since like the first Hellblade that I played, and like you literally start that game and you're like, I think you're like on a boat or some shit, and like the shit I was like, and you're like getting the boat like flips over, and you already have like people whispering in your ear like as that shit's happening, and it's so like dynamic and cinematic as like you're getting crushed by the waves and like the sounds of the waves hitting your right in my ear, and like each of the voices whispering in different ones of your ear and like saying different parts of a single sentence at different times or whatnot, like, and like the whispering and all that was like mind numbingly chilling. It was like crazy, like chills, legit, like especially like because it's not like necessarily a horror game, but it's a psychological horror game. And this is one of the first games where I actually felt like that psychological horror aspect of it. Like you really do feel like you really like get put into her shoes of like feeling like crazy, like because like even in the game, like the whispers will tell you like, oh, you go this way, yada yada yada, and like they'll make you see certain things, and then make fun of you and shit. Like, ah, you're stupid. You actually thought that was somebody here. Why would somebody be here? Like, all this like craziness. They're like, oh, you're fucking with me, fuck with me. Okay. And like there are portions of the game where are like in like the dark and shit, and so like the whispers are like whispering at you like you're gonna die, you're gonna die. Be quiet. No, she has to be quiet. No, she's gonna make it. She's not gonna make it. Yeah, it's like it's just like and like I said, like it's all like in like 3D sound and everything. So like you're hearing whispers like from different parts of the room and whatnot. And like so like for once I feel like the psychosis of the character like as they're like characters looking around like that, I'm like moving my camera around like that too because I'm like, yo, no, this shit has to be like really,
it gets you.
really.
You got good headphones as well.
Oh yeah, if you have those, oh my god, yeah, you have to play that with like some really good headphones because it's deserved. Hellblade, like yeah, I knew.
Another one for me was pretty much between that, and I think you even said it during our previous stream. It was between that and probably Silent Hill for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Just based off on both how those games work and what sound design means for a game like Silent Hill to even be successful. So it wasn't really. I'll say it would be tough if you, in hindsight, it doesn't seem like it's all that much. But if you're a fan of these types of games and you listen to the music and you get invested, you wear your headphones a lot when you're playing games. This could have been a tough one for you prior. Like I could have imagined it going either way between Final Fantasy, Silent Hill, and Senua's Hope. I could have imagined it, but I always thought Senua deserved that one.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why they got another award about that later.
Coming right up, actually, next is the best performance by Melina Juergens. Senua Saga. I said this. I was like, yo, it's not even necessarily like the scream crying. Like she has some of the craziest range in some of these scenes where like she's going from like high and low and like that and like the despair and like sadness that she like has to like invoke in some of this shit like really had me like, bro, this shit is crazy. An amazing job for sure. Definitely well deserved. Like
it's like that movie Split. Where you're like seeing that guy like act like different people and he like switches up his personality sometimes. Like it's instantly on camera. It's like that, but like times 10 because it's video game.
that and just like seeing the character. Like if you play the first game at all, and just seeing like her character, because like the whole first one, I mean, they're all kind of about despair and grief and like depression and everything like that. But like fighting your way through that in that sense and everything. But in a more like actual like physical way, but she's still also grappling with it mentally. And so like it's all very like psychological in that sense. So like it really like pulls at the heartstrings of like how much range she has like and like from the first game how she like goes from like super like depressive and like just ready for it to all end in certain cases so to the second one how it like the story kind of shifts to where now she kind of has to take more of a leadership role or whatnot and things still aren't necessarily going well and so she's still finding those despairing points and plots and like the actual monsters here it's like if there are the actual humans here or if it's like the actual monsters who the monsters are created by the actions of the humans and whatnot and it's just like a retaliation effect and so like seeing like their stories play out and then still having to confront these things and then seeing like Senua have to like come into herself and like be more confident in those aspects and watching that character grow but like still grow like really go through things it's just insane like and actually being able to feel that through her performances.
Yeah, just about to say, and it's even better when you can feel it through a person's performance. And like I understood it, it's not as that's the crazy part is like we had somebody who played like an immaculate Kratos. They were able to pretty much allow for us to see emotion in a character that only could show one at one point.
And it was anger.
For this one, it was this person's ability to show a multitude of emotions, like immediately, back to back, fluently, expressively, and you felt it. Like if you, I'm not gonna lie to you, you could watch this as a movie, and it would be very fulfilling.
Which one? God of War or Senua?
Cinema.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's in that's the whole thing about like you can't really give it like best game direction or something like that because like it's not it's I mean it's a few controls away from being like an Until Dawn cutscene type of thing where like if it wasn't for like the sword fighting and even that's kind of very like bare bones at most um it's really just like to get you moving through the story more but like it really plays like a cinematic like storybook like a than like a actual like game whatnot but like the story is just so compelling or whatnot that like you know that's not what you I mean from the first one you knew that's not really what you were there for you know you're going to be walking through some desolate area while you get some imagery and everything as Senua like contemplates like her feelings and whatnot you might have to either hide from or swing on or fight a few people here and there. You might get a puzzle or three, and then yeah, you're moving on, moving right along. Um, so it wasn't like a big surprise with you with like that was essentially, but like they did add new elements and everything to that as well to keep it fresh and whatnot. That I feel like it's okay, it was cool to see and like updated puzzles and all that to like add more to those aspects or whatnot. And those are still like not like super light, but like still like small portions of it, and like it's still mainly that like narrative drive to it as well.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see them try to dive more into like more game mechanic wise, but like honestly, the narrative is just so good. Like if that's what they want to focus on, I'm completely okay with it. Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, now the engine is predominantly done. You're probably going to use that same one to work on the next one. So from there, the building blocks are done. You don't need 3-4 years to start working on the framework and the engine. So from here, it should just be about building on your previous title. How you want to build on that is up to them. But for me, anything that's just slightly bigger, whether they want to go instance based again and or switch it up to like an open world, it's still slightly instance based, or if they want to turn it into a freaking Assassin's Creed type storyline. Do whatever you guys want. Make sure it's good.
But I don't know. I feel like with that
Give me for a
like
year and I'll be
close like third person like right over the shoulder viewpoint like is necessary. Like having that super intimate connection with her like that close. I feel like having an open world game might like dilute that a lot. Cause like
Oh
that's
yeah, I like to like open world, but like instance based as well.
Mhm.
Because then like they're like small, they're small instances, or I should say they're big instances.
Mhm.
That's pretty much it. Almost like most of our dungeons in like some Skyrim games, where it's like yeah, they feel big, they're not really that big.
sure. So yeah, but yeah, the kudos and big ups to Melina Jurgens. I'm saying her last name right because oh my god.
Oh man.
But
I did want to go over real quick before we get to the next one. This one is actually like kind of important to me. I want to get this one out before I get upset about it later. Hey, best adaptation.
okay.
The winner was Fallout. How do you feel about that? It was Fallout when you could have gotten Like a Dragon Yakuza. I understand if you wouldn't vote for that one. The Tomb Raider animated series, Arcane, and Knuckles.
Yeah, I don't see how that. Yeah, yeah, paid, bought. I don't know what to say because
That's
like,
what I was saying. Like, after I left this thing, there were about 3-4 things where I was just like, yeah, this makes absolutely no sense. I cannot imagine how it is pretty much synonymous through I'm pretty sure almost every corner of the internet that Arcane season 2 not only looked better than season 1, but in its ability to create just immaculate scenes outperformed season 1 in many ways.
mhm.
How? How? In a show that people left like season 5, majority of people didn't fit past season 5. How did that even episode 5? How did that even happen? How? This show has had nothing but negativity rising out of it since it aired. How? It doesn't make any sense.
It literally, it Fallout being there, especially like I said against like the Arcane being like the blockbuster that it is. Like that show has been like from season one to then like I said to two being amazing still. And then even going up against Knuckles, which is also like the Sonic movies have been going like crazy. With Knuckles Shadow,
That looked good.
yeah. So like they did adaptation amazingly, and like Fallout I've heard is not
Maybe it's the definition
sophisticated.
of what an adaptation is supposed to be. Maybe I'm out of bump on that one. I do not know, but what I do know is that even the Fallout adaptation had lore nerds going out of their souls and
Oh,
trying
Shadow
to
came out
figure
today.
out what was wrong with the world. And people were not happy about that.
You
You
see,
said
you
what?
see Gabe's in the chat.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
I
What's happened?
didn't see that at first. I was like, wait, what?
Been there for a little while.
Yeah, I was just not seeing that those players. Uh, um, but yeah, as far as so yeah, the fact that one best adaptation is just still wild to me. But my boy. But yeah, but then let's go ahead and move straight on to who was it? We did best narrative, art direction, score music, best performance. Skip over that. We'll go to
I mean, there's also like
best.
mobile game.
Keep going,
I will
best.
also say studio game direction was interesting to me.
Of course
Team
not.
Soviet has literally only done Astrobot. I I swear, am I wrong for thinking somebody bought somebody out for this one, man? It kind of like, what's happening? I didn't even hear anything about how amazing or how great the studio was, like at anything ever. Like, and then this game comes out, and all of a sudden they're best studio in the world. The community loves them. They make great games. They're the most creative people in the industry. Since when? Well, I'll take it, but since when? When did this happen? Am I missing something? Like, what was the where was the craze around Astrobot? Because I sincerely feel like I missed something at some point in time.
I mean, like, there was the Chris when it first dropped off, and everybody was saying like how it was a good, decent game, but whatnot. But like,
I don't remember it being like this. I don't. But I don't remember it apparently, so I don't know. I feel like I missed something. Maybe I feel like these games are a lot bigger than I ever thought they were. Maybe it is just like maybe it's just all Sony ever had to do, honestly, was get as close as possible to Mario, and that's all they had to do.
I mean,
To find their own development team that could just compete, and that was it.
I mean, like the whole point of it is like it's always like the sense of like how accessible it is to a wider audience of people. So like as far as like the list goes, most of these games you either one had to have played a previous version of the game with Final Fantasy. So you had to have played one of the previous one or this when it originally dropped. So that gets rid of a big demographic of people. Black Myth Wukong is titled it's shown as like a Souls like, even though it's a much easier. Well, I wouldn't even say easier because a lot of people had issues with certain bosses as well on that game as well. So
It's a Souls like game in its own vein.
exactly. So Black Myth Wukong and Shadow the Erd Tree. That's another two that's kind of taken out of a big demographic because just based on difficulty alone. So regardless of how good the game was, a lot of people didn't even get to experience that because get good. Um, then moving on now with that, all you have really is Balatro because who that has a very specific niche to it of like who's going to be playing that and anything. So it's not going to be again another general audience game. And then all you're left with at that point is Metaphor and Astrobot. Unless you were big in any of the Atlas's games so far, so Demon Summon, Devil Summoner, Persona, and what's the other one?
To be honest, even like all the little side projects they've been coming out with, like their Cyber Hackers and a few other titles that they came out with recently that were like these interesting AA versions of getting like their JRPGs out. I just feel like did nothing but show me that this studio is lacking creativity at this point in time. It feels as though their big titles are literally all they have, and then anything else that they try to do outside of that just become like these
The same thing.
like copies
It's
of
just
them,
oh,
but like slightly different.
mhm.
I don't know if they're looking for one of them to pop off or what. I don't know what they're doing.
Has Persona not popped off on that point? I don't understand.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
because they
this
really
is
want one of their other ones to pop off,
this
even though it's essentially the same thing. Like Devil Summoner is essentially same thing with phones. Cyber
I
Hack
think
is
it's
essentially.
just about getting other stuff going.
I mean, I
I
feel it.
think there. Did you see I guess Rim 13 Sentinels? I guess Rim. I think it was called. I thought that was really good, and that was made by a team that nobody probably is ever going to pay any attention to in the future. But that was a really good game. Um, and I will also say that the rest of them were kind of poop poop. But I think that's the whole point. Now they have a much bigger owner. Their publisher Sega has way more money. They've gotten way more people to work for them. So I guess just Atlas as a studio, just I guess just shoot out more projects and see what hits the wall. But as long as like the teams that I like are doing fine, I do think that having all these other studios doing other stuff will affect them getting votes for having like the best studio and stuff like that. It's definitely gonna affect their votes. Yeah, if you're a fan, you're like, oh, I remember that other crappy game y'all came out with this year. It cost me $60 and I didn't even like it. Yeah, they're definitely, as a friend of ours would say, they're definitely on their way to becoming the next Square Enix.
Oh boy, yeah. Square Enix they had a great fall off. Unfortunately.
I mean, but they still have like their main series that pop off, but any and everything else they put their name on, you have to be kind of questionable.
Square
This is
Enix.
coming from a reputable studio, like the studio that does. I can't remember the studio's name, but the one that did like their classic RPGs, the one that was in the veins of like Triangle Strategy and their Octopath Traveler when they helped publish those. Like that studio, 10 out of 10, but ain't got nothing to do with Square Enix. They just help publish it. We'll figure it out, you know. Dragon Quest, yeah. We'll figure it out.
Outside of that, I mean, the only other one I really had a jump in. I mean, I had to throw out the one that Black Myth actually won as far as best action game. We got a W there in that sense.
Sure, it could have been Stellar Blade.
Yeah, I mean, depends on the type of action you were looking for, but
That's too big, man.
oh my god, I mean, a Nier did it as well. Like, and if it works, if it works, like, the reason why these anime figurines sell for so much, they know what they're doing. They know the demographic that loves those styles.
Yeah,
And they're always gonna. Like, and then I mean, is it cool that they also added a decent narrative and like some good gameplay to it as well? But come on, we all know what we're looking at here.
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah, you're looking for them sweats.
You know what them baits are.
I do think it sucks for like Warhammer though. Like Warhammer, people been waiting for that game for quite a while. It comes out. It was actually really good, and they didn't get a chance to find themselves in like a place where they could win an award. But that's another reason why.
Which is surprising because it was such a small year as far as like games.
It's just what's on the ballot for it.
Yeah.
You know, like if you put that way right next to Helldivers 2, and they're both action games, Helldivers 2 was a much bigger game when it came out, and for a longer period of time than Warhammer was.
Yep. And if it wasn't for
on the exact same ballot as well, and you just got the COD nerds that would just vote for COD because it's COD.
Yeah.
And it's Celebrate. It's just a lot of friction. But let's just be, if I'm going to be honest with you, like, even I would probably still vote for Black Myth over Warhammer. If I was a bigger fan of Warhammer, I would probably still give it to Black Myth for what I said in our last video. Like, its ability with its frame sensitivity, it's so good. Its ability to understand where you are, where your opponent is, being hit by its hitboxes are almost perfect all the time. Other attacks that involve dodges or you moving a certain way will evade if you used it at the right time. There's so many different ways to defend yourself, to attack, to change your environment where you are is extremely important in almost every fight. Remember the first time we fight that serpent? It's like the second, maybe the second or third boss fight. And I was like, yeah, look at all this open area. Come to find out, that's the worst thing to fight this game. An open area.
If you let him get that space,
into a corner real quick. It's like, oh no. And that was the cool stuff about that. There haven't been very many action games that I've played that involve like those types of one-on-one fighting scenes other than Dark Souls nowadays that has that, or that feels at the very least that has that. And I shouldn't say Dark Souls because now with Elden Ring as well, and Sekiro is more just from software games. Those types of games. It just feels like as you look at the list, it just feels like these things are going to be probably beaten out. At least if things went correctly, they should have been beaten out.
Fair.
I don't know why Call of Duty's up. Get that out of here. Put it in a shooting category.
Yeah, right. Give it the shooting, like, come on. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Unless you have any other categories that you wanted to pick out, those are the only ones I really had. I wanted to shine some interest on for the moment. If not, we can.
Helldivers 2 winning multiplayer game got me quite extensively. 10 out of 10. I don't think I thought it was gonna be Helldivers at that point in time. I think I might have either tried to say it was probably Super Mario because it's a Mario game. It's a big.
I think you might have said like Tekken.
Yeah, or even Tekken. I do remember, and also speaking of that, good segue. That takes us into the fighting game. Tekken 8 won fighting game. Our boy Chips and Dips was right on that one. 10 out of 10. And after doing a little bit of research after that video on the community itself, it does seem like this community is it's not really stagnating as bad as it seems for most fighting games. I think the competitive, this is looking like it'll be one of those like this a really good Street Fighter competitor versus how it has ever been in the past.
Okay.
It always seems like it had been another version of fighting games. Like you would have the Marvel vs. Capcoms, you have the Street Fighters, you have the Tekkens, you have the Mortal Kombats. But Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom have always felt like they're those like top ones that it's really hard to crack that as a fighting game. It's really hard to get up there. Other games like Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear, they feel like they are in their own niche and they still can't even get up there. This game feels like it could be around long enough to get up there. It could be tournaments going on for this for a good 5-7 years that still have really good money payouts. You never know, but it does seem like it's reaching that point.
And then any other category you wanted to go over?
I'm actually looking at my notes, trying to see if there was anything that intrigued me. And to be honest, not really. There was like a family game, but that was also Astrobot, so there wasn't much more I could say about that.
That's a surprise as far as family games go. Yeah. I mean, we can segue straight on over then to some of the game announcements that we had for this over the Game Awards. We had actually quite a few drops. First off, I guess we'll just hop off into like the hot seat with the Naughty Dogs is headed to space with their intergalactic.
You said advertiser friendly intergalactic? Yeah.
Friendly.
Like that paid for by ads. I was like, is that a Porsche? What is going on here? There's at least 3 different name brand things in one trailer. Like, what's happening? But also, 10 out of 10, that game looks like it'll be really fun.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very happy that they get the chance to do something that isn't so extremely like story focused. They get to just jump into like they get to keep what they've practiced for so long with their stories and with their integrative characters and just jump that into like far more action. They say they want to just push boundaries when it comes down to how much action they put into this game versus their others. And I'm really hyped for that. I want to see Naughty Dog do some more action, less cinematic action and more just like action. Role playing for action, I should say. I'm hyped for it. What about you?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely hyped. I mean, we're gonna play the trailer here so we can take a look.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. And then there was something else that I wanted to talk about when we're done watching that one. But yeah, I actually really want to see it again so I can point out some things. What else was there? Do you remember any of those? I know the Porsche is just too big. It's the first thing you see is Porsche. But there were two other things that I know I saw, and I can't remember what they were.
I'll fix this in a second. Probably.
We'll get this worked out next time so it can be a bit faster.
Yo, just real quick. What's up, bro?
What's going on?
What's good, bro?
How you-
I know he's gonna edit this out. So.
No. No, I don't think I will.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
What's good? What's good, brother?
Every game.
Before you guys talk about it, can I just say game of the year? Actually crazy.
Insane.
Actually crazy.
I still, in my life, I cannot believe they let Astrobot win that shit with a
But,
straight.
but I understand why though. But I understand why.
Mm-mm.
No, it's because it's innovative. It's like it adds such an innovation to video games. The last 3 games of Game of the Year also did the same thing. Therefore, Astrobot is the only one in that category that added an extra element to their game that was so innovative that they couldn't ignore it.
What was that element, bro?
What do you mean? It was with the controller passives.
See, to some degree, I'm okay with that. Thank you for integrating the controller technology, but I don't know. The fact that it was a Sony studio that did it is what makes me kind of care a little bit less, and also slightly more annoyed by it. So we allowed a studio that not only has this technology in their house, literally in their studio. Not only do they have that, they have the people who created the technology in their studio. They get to sit there and work on this because they have been working on this since the 5 came out for what, 5 years? 6? And then they get to come out with this boy and be like, yeah, look what we did. And we're gonna win this boy because we innovated with the controller that's been out for 5 years. That other companies have already, the other development studios have already said are really hard to develop around. And if they knew a little bit more about it or had some information on its code, they could probably do better. And the studio that does all this.
Terrible to develop, and also it takes a lot of time to develop around it.
Yeah.
So you'll say, "Oh, I'll design it for PlayStation," but then that makes you a PlayStation exclusive unless you want to waste, like 4
Years.
months worth of time. 4 months
Yeah.
worth of time is a lot in a video game industry when you're trying to release your game. So you don't want to actually add all the controller things. I agree with you on that.
You are right. As a game, it is the one that innovated this year. So.
However, I do think that is the next form of innovation. And I think Microsoft understood that, and that's why they're dropping out of the console war, and then they're going into more of like, oh, we're just gonna make good games, right?
Yeah, they have. Yeah, I wish they would have done that when they said they were going to do that at the start of this console generation.
man.
Except for trumping into business.
But this is like the next step, right? You design technology around the next generation of video games you're gonna do. You don't design the next generation video game and
After
then say,
the
"Oh, we're gonna
technology.
upgrade the technology later," right? Like you do the technology first. So, in my understanding, this is really good. But yeah, dude, bro, did you see that It Takes Two a new game?
Yeah, I did. I did. That was really good.
Fantasy sci-fi. Oh my lord! Witcher 4, Borderlands 4. I mean, Sifu Soccer. I'm playing.
You have no idea how mad I was when I saw that studio name pop up. I was like, you guys are supposed to bring back Absolver. Exactly. Y'all was supposed to bring back Absolver, another fighting game. Why'd you give me soccer?
I was feeling the same way, and I was just fucking mad. I was like, dude, you bring out soccer? That's your next game?
You know, Absolver, a create your own battle and fighting style fighting game. Sifu, a boss mash and beat 'em up. Soccer. Hold on. Kung Fu Soccer, the video game.
I mean, there's not even special shit anymore. I mean, what are we doing, bro? Anyway, Prince back, bro. I'll let you guys continue, but I just need to.
I would say, like, come on, we got the chips and dip pop in. You might do a. What do you mean? We got a whole side information. Informant. The foreman just popped in. Can't go nowhere now. Yeah, come on in.
He was like, I think he's gonna edit this out anyway. Hey, you're good now.
Let me go get my glasses, yo, for real though.
Oh no, Chips and Dip is missing his hair piece this time.
Everything. Oh yeah, but is this? Yeah, this is the first video. Definitely gotta finish that one. We could go over some. We definitely gotta go over that the Witcher 3 stuff when we get to it.
Witcher 4 or?
Oh yeah, Witcher 4 stuff. My fault. Oh.
Alright, hold on. Let me add you to the your game.
Yeah, I just had to. It's show non-video participants. I should have done that when I first came in. I did not.
How is it?
Just everybody to change everybody's size now that your video is here.
How you been, Brain?
Been good. You see, I've been just grinding in Once Human. Essentially, it's like
I saw, dude. There's too much stuff happening right now. Naraka just dropped his last season or his next season today,
oh my god.
and then Warframe dropped his. Yo, dude, Game Awards said Warframe was like, oh yeah, we're just gonna drop it the day after. I'm like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah, where's that? Like, we don't care. We don't give a rat's ass.
I was like, dang, that ruined all my plans.
Welcome to 2024 video gaming.
Dude,
Everything is
2025.
the exact
I
same
don't
time.
even know what's gonna be game of the year. Bro,
Something in February.
Witcher freaking 4? Dude, Borderlands. Okay. No. If Borderlands 4 is as good as Borderlands 2, we have no. Or even the prequel, we have no problem. Like, that's gonna be a competitor.
I'm not a Border fans, guys. I'm not a Borderlands guy.
You know, Gabe knows I'm the same.
It's something. It's not my humor. It really isn't. And
I like Borderlands 3. That game sucks.
yeah, Borderlands 3 is kind of like I was like, yo, it kind of kicked it out for me. I used to be able to watch people play at least Borderlands 1 and 2. 3 didn't even feel. I made the mistake of buying that one, so it hurt a little bit
Me
more.
too.
And then the comedy's not necessarily my thing all the time. The loot-based system, I think I might be hitting overload on that one. I might have to start chilling out. I still really want those. Like, getting new weapons, weapons and loot kind of being the end goal. That is kind of what 3 felt like to me. Is the whole series not like that?
I mean, 2 is they do it a lot better. Also the prequel does it a lot better. 3's kind of changed their formula where it was a lot more rarer to get the cool things. And so and then also 3 introduced enemies that were YouTubers, TikTokers.
Yeah, very interesting.
That was it for me, for sure.
Very interesting parts as well. I realized that when YouTube was telling me about people, and I was like, I don't know what you guys are even talking about. Wait, they're from who?
Naughty Dog game though. I'm not gonna lie, bro. This looks so insane. It's like Cyberpunk, and that's the crazy part. It's like Cyberpunk to me.
I think I want to see more. Like reading a few blogs definitely out of it. Yeah, but I definitely want to see more. Like just the idea of Naughty Dog doing what Naughty Dog does, but with more gameplay. Their idea of what more gameplay is, I'm very interested to see what that is to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go all out with gameplay and action-based systems. Don't even get me started on this board.
We're gonna go all out in gameplay and action-based systems. They're about to reprint the same formula, but with the new graphics. Come on, man. That is literally what we're about to get.
You don't know them like that, man. You know, he's growing up.
Yes, I don't know.
He's growing up. You know, his kids are growing up. He can't make God of Wars anymore. His kid wants to play an action game now.
We got the Honkai Star Rail next place.
No.
I was screaming. Oh my gosh, this is so
All right, we got to get into some of the trailers first, so we can and we'll talk about them after. Those are gonna come up. We'll get to.
All right, no, you hear the Let's get this one going. Everybody ready?
Yep.
Let's start it up. Intergalactic it is.
This opening score reminds me, what is it? Some horror movie.
Signs.
Mm.
Science is such a horror movie, bro.
No, it sounds like the start of like a fucking Halloween movie or something like that. Like one of them old like 80s, 70s horror movies. It could be it. It could be it. The original.
I'm so curious, like why this moon is like this and also still there. Oof, oof, oof.
I had already saw that like they were talking about they had a lot of inspiration from was it Akira, Cowboy Bebop, and
Mhm.
It reminded me of Cowboy Bebop. That's what that, when I
Yeah.
saw that, I was like, yep.
Once I saw the Porsche and then like I saw the inside and watching the anime thing, I was like, oh yeah, somebody likes Cowboy Bebop.
Cause I'm about to say, isn't the Stingray like a fucking Mustang or something like that?
Yeah. Somebody likes Cowboy Bebop for sure. Ultimate in luxury, I like that.
Now, if this is in game and not just like a created commercial,
Knowing them, it probably is.
no, for real, like this looks like what Cyberpunk would be.
They said it in the interview after.
This is all. No, they said it at the beginning. This is all
Really?
being recorded in game. This is
I
all
mean,
we're seeing a cutscene basically. Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad they're not doing the old school adage of like doing the CCTV screen where you can't see shit on the screen.
Like it reminds me of like the reason why I like this is it has like that alien approach to it.
Yeah.
All the technology is supposed to be futuristic, but it actually looks old as heck.
It looks old as heck, but it is still like somewhat futuristic. At least in this case, it is.
Yeah, it straight up reminds me of like what they did with Alien and Cowboy Bebop and stuff.
The original Star Wars also did.
Star Wars,
Yeah.
yeah, Star Wars as well. Okay, okay. Thank you.
How many times did you see this trailer?
Oh, like about 4. I love their art style. It always gets me, man. The way they capture people's facial structures and facial expressions. Like, look at this scene. It's just like,
the lean back was fire.
This is the best they've ever had.
Yeah.
like this stare is serious. See the contemplation going on.
There it is.
Sony, let's go. Yeah, there were ads on here.
Oh yeah.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. I mean, when you got a game looking this good, you gotta get the money from somewhere. Adidas.
There it is. Yep. I couldn't remember. I was like, I know it was 2 other ones. It's Sony, Adidas. Let's go. And then this pops up, and all of a sudden it reminds me of Back to the Future.
Crash Bandicoot, Jack and Dexter.
I mean, okay, let's be honest.
Hold up. That looks like some shit from Nier.
Let's go.
Okay. Yeah.
Big naughty dog.
Helps the naughty dog. Intergalactic look like it could be fire. We can't move on without talking about the elephant in the.
Wait, hold on. Before we get there,
No.
let's just say Naughty Dog came from fucking like the Crash Bandicoot, man.
Mhm.
Like they've gone from Crash Bandicoot to this.
It's insane to come up. It's absolutely insane. But the unfortunate thing about that is that, like you said, back then, studio could make a whole game about a jabbering bandicoot and its family facing against little. I don't even know if the fucking doctor is supposed to be human or what he's supposed to be, but you could make and create characters like that. But all of a sudden, you have a bald female character and everybody's up in arms, and this is not the first time in recent games that this has happened. We've had the exact same issue with Ghost to Yumi. We've had the same issue with Star Wars Outlaws. Witcher 4 is also getting a lot of backlash because of its.
Star Wars Outlaws needed that.
No. The actual game needed that, of course, because the game is ass itself. But the actual discourse was initially about the way that the main character looked.
Didn't Watch Dogs have that too, with like the black
Yeah.
protagonist? Yeah.
hmm
They also had
Same with Assassin's Creed. Yeah.
Assassin's Creed, and the female that they had a female assassin.
The female and the black guy as well.
Black guy. Yeah.
So-
They get it as long as they make a nice story around it. If they make a concrete story around it and it makes sense,
My whole point, but this is my whole point. It doesn't even have to make sense because, like you said, these guys started with Crash Bandicoot, a story about anamorphic bandicoot who spins in circles and like it saves the world. Like if you're able to play games like that and remove your disbelief, there should be no issue with these games like Track to Yomi, Ghost to Yumi, Star Wars having main female character leads and them looking any way that they look in any regardless if they're bald, if they are half dressed, if they're fully dressed out in like tomboyish, like it shouldn't even matter at this point. Because like I said, y'all people are able to play games that completely take you out of the aspect of even like the human reality in general. So to
and what's crazy is most people are just like creating their characters as females anyway. So they're making their own female protagonists anyway.
so like it's just like it's just I feel like it's all this there's always for online. You know, you got like the loudest people in the room are gonna be the ones that are looked at the most. So
They got problems anyway, man. Ain't nothing wrong with this. Y'all people just crazy.
yeah.
They're not mad at the fact that it is a woman. They're mad that it's not the woman that they wanted.
Or because she's not like exactly, she's not dressed. Yeah.
She literally said, you could have just made him look more like Stellar Blade. And I was like, why are you not just happy with the fact that you got Stellar Blade this year?
Yes.
Just be happy that you have that nasty thing that you want. Sorry, you haven't gotten Bayonetta 5, 6, 7, and 8 in the last 10 years. But that's fine. Just move on and play the next thing that pops up. What was it before? What was the name of the one with the weird cyborg twin robots that was also voluptuous?
I know the Russian one.
No, that was Atomic Heart.
Yep.
Atomic Heart. You guys got 2 of those games in 2 years. Be happy.
Okay, but to get to a realistic topic, I do think they're mad about the fact that they're catering to more of the modern day time. I think that's the thing they're mad about. I don't think it's actually they're mad about, oh, it's a female protagonist. I think they're mad about, oh, this whole women's movement thing coming into my video games.
And I'd be fine with
But-
I understand that.
But like that's not the case though, because most game characters have been like main female leads. You've had Tomb Raider, you've had Samus, you've had like there are plenty of like main character led.
Alloy from
Aloy.
I mean, shit. Even the Halo series, one of the main Cortana is one of the main protagonists in the series. I don't know if we call her protagonist depending on her viewpoint or not, but yeah.
She's an assistant.
Yeah.
She's a fundamental part of the story.
Yeah, she's all of them. Cortana is the key point always. Yeah.
But like, I feel like it would be okay for me if it was grounded in reality. It's always about present, whatever the thing is that they're looking at right now. And I would be okay with that if it was logical, if they had something profoundly to say with it, or at the very least if it made sense. When they came after the Assassin's Creed one, I was like, when you're coming after 2 people acting as though the third person isn't there. And they go, well, it should just be a Japanese protagonist. You mean the person that's the first one on the list? And they're like, well, why is it a woman? Because there's women that exist in Japan as well, and they had a role. Why is a black guy there? Because they wanted to put a black guy there. There were multiple assassin guilds in Japan that were all women. They didn't allow men to do it because they weren't nimble enough. They couldn't be as light on their feet enough. There's historical precedents for this, and they're putting all three historical precedents in the game, and you guys are mad about it. But it's only because you're looking at the one thing you want to get mad at about. With the Ghost of Yote, they could easily get mad about that one, and I would understand it if only the last game didn't just come out and had a male as a character. Why can't you just be okay with the fact this one doesn't? I don't. I don't understand it. I didn't even notice that the last four titles were all women until someone told me. I was
Well,
just like, oh,
The Ghost of Yotai, I actually do think there's precedent. Like I can see an argument for that one, me personally, because it's
wow,
like, all right, we go from the guy, the main character, and
whose
then
story
we're
ended.
like, oh man, dang, we just now have this female. And it's like, what the hell? Why can't we just continue from the story where we left off? Like, right?
Because
But
that
then there's
story is
time that's
historical. Has historical precedent to it. And at the end of his story is the end of that war. He has no story after. He has to leave his home. You could do what he does after, or you could start a whole new story with a whole new sequence and a whole new character, and you could prolong it and put in any other time period that you want to, which is what they're going with, which is far easier to work with. You have far more creative leniency, and then you get to start a whole new character. It feels better that way. Also, it's another game. It's not Ghost of Tsushima 2. I
yeah,
am.
but some people might see it as, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here, right? But
Mhm.
some people might see it as them competing with Assassin's Creed, the Japanese one, because they like, oh, you have a girl like protagonist, we need to step it up and have a girl protagonist too. I think a lot of people see it in that kind of mirror, where it's not like, oh, that no, this kind of can make sense. They see it as just like, oh no, you're influenced by the rest of the world, so we're gonna do it. And a lot of people don't like that.
I mean, in that case, then that's just recency bias because it's not like
Yeah,
I'm basic. It's not like every game is like taking over like every narrative has to be woman based or biased or whatnot. It's literally just what the current wave of games have been. Like, oh, they just so happen to have main character leads. I mean, it's not like it's anything new. I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn was another one that's just like that's been
and
a
I
woman lead.
don't want to. Let's not act like this
Stellar
isn't being said
Blade,
by
another
both
one that's
sides
women
as
led, but
well.
you're not going to hear
Yeah,
nobody complaining about
no,
that.
no, no. We
No,
gotta act like we gotta bring up the fact that this is both sides because when Stellar Blade came out, the female community was doing the exact same thing. They were like, "Well, why do they always have to be so voluptuous? Why are they showing so much?" And then there
Well,
was
no,
another side of their community that's just like us that was like, "Well, one, this don't look that bad. Two, her outfit is kind of sexy, and three, I don't
it was
see a
based off
problem
a
with
real
it."
person. Some
but
Yeah,
people were
yeah,
saying that these proportions weren't like they weren't
but it
realistic.
was.
but
It was
even
based off of a real
even
person.
that like aside, even that point aside, nobody was complaining about female-led games when Stellar Blade was coming out because she's some voluptuous, sexy lady in a hack and slash game or whatnot. But now all of a sudden, just because games like Witcher and whatnot have female leads that aren't like titties down to their knees and like everything jiggling.
It doesn't make any sense. Look, do you guys actually expected Siri because in the last game she had scars over her face as well, the same one that we see as
Yep.
prominently in this trailer she had in that one. Two, she looked fairly masculine in that one. She had very strong cheekbones. She was very, very aggressive. She was very tomboyish as well. What did you expect her to look like? Constantly fighting monsters as she gets older. Geralt got more gruffy as he got older as well. What did you expect to happen to Siri? Also, she was never the girly girl ever. So why are we upset that she's not now? She never has been. I don't. It's just
Yep.
it's recency bias that everybody just gets upset about what they're looking at right now, and the broader picture means nothing. If the broader picture is
Yep.
going to be modern time or that today's day and age, this today's day, then okay, you can talk about agendas, you can talk about politics in your game.
But you
But
really
in this
can't,
case,
like,
you're
aside from
not,
like,
and you're
yeah.
just complaining about the fact that there is a woman in it and she doesn't look the way you want her
Exactly.
to.
Because like
And
if you want to
that's
talk about
reasonable.
that, then you can talk. We could definitely talk about Concord in those senses, where like, oh,
Yeah.
they changing the pronoun labeling. They change like that's definitely showing like they have an
Or
agenda to push in that
Dragon Age
sense.
Inquisition, where some of the conversations don't feel natural because they seem to be extremely like almost libertarian in the way that they're interacting with other characters. She seemed, I think someone said in particular, they sound like they're having a psychological session rather than actually having a conversation. It sounds like those modern day political views or conversations about political views than you actually talking to your characters in the game. And I was like, I can kind of see how that is something you don't want in your games.
Yeah.
That's something you should say you don't want in your games. But
Yeah.
the appearance of someone in a game is a trickly scope to me. Now all of a sudden we can have females that look this way. We can have males that look this way. Now all of a sudden the people in real life can't have any presentation for themselves. We can't have the Junos in the video game anymore. I love Juno.
My thing is, bro, like it doesn't fucking matter what we have an orientation of what it looks like in a video game. Like I could be a hunchback whale, building myself up to become
And that takes us back to like my original point. Naughty Dog started with a fucking anamorphic bandicoot. So the fact that you people are fucking complaining now about the lady isn't sexy. It's like the bandicoot wasn't sexy, and you were able to play 3, 4 fucking games with this guy and a couple of racing games on top of all that without ever fucking making a single peep. So like, come on, let's not do this. Like it's really that important to you.
And these guys start drooling. These guys are weird.
Exactly.
These guys are weird. I don't know what to say.
but like get to this next game though.
Yeah. Okay. So finally, after what? Damn near almost 20 years, we get a sequel. And this is why I feel like I can always bring this segue in and we can get a season 2 for Akira. God damn it, we can get this going. We can bring it back. Bleach is doing this fucking fourth season after ending for like 15 years. Bleach is on its 4th season of its recurrency. You tell me I can't get another season of Air Gear after all this time? This is crazy.
It's the same thing. No.
No.
Oh, great, it's not dead. No.
Quit.
It just doesn't.
He finished Air Gear.
Oh, great finished it. Yeah, the entire manga is done. It was done like maybe when we got out.
Yes. He's not like all these other scrubs who can't finish their stories.
Okay. Let's watch our trailer.
Air Gear Supremacy. I want my second season. 2 seasons in a movie. God damn it.
I understand your pain. I need you to.
Do you? I don't believe you. You don't sound like you understand my pain. I'm the only one ever advocating for anything over here. I need justice. Prayer? You see where your prayer has got us all these years? Nowhere. Your God is dead. We need this season.
I always said if we can't get Airback, I want Jet Set Radio. We got Jet Set Radio.
We did get Jet Set, and this is what I mean. We got Jet Set Radio. You telling me I can't get Air Gear? We got Jet Set Radio in like a realistic almost look at Jet Set Radio. You tell me I can't get Air Gear season 2, bro? Stop it! You stop it! You know this is a positivity only stream, damn it, alright? I won't have anybody up here discouraging my delusion. Yeah, that's right, damn it, that's right. Air Gear works like fairies. If you say you don't believe in them, it will die, okay? You have to believe.
Speaking of things that we wish we would that we thought we would never see again. Let's watch this trailer.
Ooh, okay.
This art style is gonna be beautiful. Like Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
Sequel. Can I just say how I am so glad it is a sequel and not a remake?
Capcom is on one.
Nintendo Switch release though.
Capcom is on
It's
one.
probably one of the only few games that would actually run on the Switch. So yeah, I mean, go crazy.
Nintendo Switch release probably.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Ian here, and today's Fix Some Game.
Happy about that game. I need to see some gameplay.
I mean, it's a place that's gonna look beautiful. I mean,
That felt more like an announcement of like development or like
It
lighting
feels
the
like
development.
it feels like it's gonna be the land of like Pokemon Arceus.
Mm.
I mean not Pokemon Arceus. The open world Pokemon game. How you were able to like go out and catch Pokemon.
was that not Arceus?
Okay. That was Arceus. So yeah, I think it's gonna be in that kind of art style. Yeah. And
Like art direction or art style.
like art direction.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
in that artistic direction. Yeah, it feels very similar the way they did all their, like the art for the presentation, the way they sort. It feels like it, but I could be wrong. But
You look at
the
something.
flowers going out, it makes me feel like Pokemon Arceus for sure.
I see what you mean.
For me, I don't want to make too many jumps on it. I definitely want to wait until I see something. For me, just seeing that trailer, I didn't even get like any glimpses of what could be in development, what their ideas of the game could be. I was too shocked of what it was to even think about that. Now that you mentioned it, I'll probably start looking for some interviews to see if they've given any hints or anything.
Yeah, but like also you can see how like they trail to like the dog running because that's all animated. So like that stuff is going to be stuff that they probably assets they use in the game, and so then that makes me give that inference. But we'll see.
Okay, for it. Looks at after 20 years, almost.
When the first one came out, I hadn't even held a girl's hand yet.
Dude, I know people who were born in 2000 right now. I don't want to say anything.
It's crazy.
I'm not gonna lie, I really want to get to this, man. I haven't seen this one in a little minute, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Let's hop into something meat.
We gotta watch the Witcher 4 trailer.
Let's get it.
And then talk about some things that happen after this as well. Yeah, of course. I'm old.
I'm old enough. On this mini.
I mean, we're
I'm
all
older.
the same old.
No, all of you are old.
Daughter,
I'm young and thriving.
from a devilishly curious child
Okay, nephew.
into a remarkable lass.
Yeah, that's right, Honk.
Grace, wisdom,
Right.
goodness. Take the easy times what shape us nay. Tis how we rise to face the hard times. What does that
The hard times.
even art of gold? Even
Art
the spirit to overcome adversities aplenty.
It's funny because this is like how the trailers for like Horizon be looking, and then it decides, and then it decides to drop on the day of a fucking AAA title that's been a masterpiece for 20 years, and it's like, well, I guess that was all for nothing.
Horizon 2 Zero Dawn? Bro, its release date was dog water, bro. Like, come
Well,
on.
the last two games they dropped at like dog water times. It's just
No. Their second game was so good, though.
yes, I know. Both the games were actually really decent. Like the second one was really good. Did I beat the second one? I forget.
I beat both.
Daughter,
I didn't beat the DLC for the second one.
That's what I think I didn't do. The DLC.
Yeah, it's like Forbidden Shores or something.
Yeah.
Of salvation.
I love this trailer.
Trailer's crazy.
Right? We all thought this was Geralt, right?
No.
Maybe we didn't.
No,
Oh
the
my
first
God.
time you see her sharpening the blade, she has a long white piece of hair flowing.
You chose her. Witcher.
Was he about to pull up on a Witcher? And you didn't know?
Right.
Goddamn. Get out of here.
pulled up on.
Oh, you about to get pulled up already. Yeah. Pull up that head off that body, off them shoulders. See, this is how cutscenes in fucking
We already know Witcher 4 about to be a bastard.
I pray.
Back to the village. Go, now.
Nay! I must save them! Save the village!
Save yourself! Run! To shelter! To your father! Run!
this is how cutscenes in Hellblade be looking.
Mm-hmm. So for me, it's one of the 5 has been able to do with like environments.
Oh yeah.
They look so.
The way that like the fog and the light. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so good. It's literally it's astronomical. Yeah. The first time they showed us ray tracing, I was like, isn't that just light tracing? And then I was like, how is that helpful? And then I saw it and I was like, oh, they don't have to work on shadow.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about like none of it.
You place a light in a certain section, and you can
its ability to upscale the textures that you use on it. That like, I don't know. I forget what they call the program. The realism of textures is insane.
there's polygons.
It looks so good. Let's get it. I feel like I should remember what kind of monster this is, but I don't.
I don't either. Maybe. Oh, is he giving it his
Shut that ass up. That scream.
Let's go.
This pissed me off.
Wow.
It's tradition.
So did you guys see that, by the way?
Hmm?
Her eyes were glistening
Yeah.
before, so she was the last person that she saw. She was still alive by that time, and then her eyes were darkened after
There are no gods
going
here.
back to the screen.
There are only monsters.
Ah.
I like that one so much. I like that ending so much because, like, yeah, we're gonna get to see another version of The Witcher, and this one's gonna be just as bad as Geralt was in the second game. Like, the difference is Geralt took like maybe like a quarter of the Witchers that were left. She's about to take out like a good quarter of the bad people that she runs into.
Yeah, this is about to be like.
Stop the video.
I think when I saw that, it was like Skyrim vibes.
Very true.
Honestly, yeah.
Very true.
Where we're gonna get like there's so much to do probably.
Oh yeah, I'm honestly looking forward to being able to like go out, like just traversing the world wherever it's gonna be in time at this point. I'm very much so looking forward to being able to do
This
that.
is too early to say, but like, okay, let's say this does really well as like The Witcher 3.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that it will compete with GTA 6 for Game of the Year?
No.
I don't think anything's going to get that far at the end here.
You don't think it would go?
And-
Witcher 4
if GTA 6 even
I
drops,
don't think
This is
anything.
Witcher 4.
even if GTA 6 drops,
Anything. Anything.
No.
Anything could compete.
GTA 6.
It would need to, at the very least, be a multiplayer game. If
Alright,
it's
like
not
tag
GTA.
this point. Tag this point right here. I think Witcher 4 is going to be game of the year.
That's. I feel like that's only if GTA 6 doesn't actually release this year.
No, I think GTA 6 will release.
They normally don't push their games back.
Rockstar is usually pretty good about it, but you have to think of.
They can release and then they can just like give updates later. Dude, they're
Which
gonna
is
be
what they
around
do.
forever.
1,000%. I mean, that's going to be their online though. I'm just talking about for like that for the actual game to be complete. I don't know. Like,
I think that it will be.
I think it will. I think it will be.
I hope again. I always hope so, but as given in recent years, it just hasn't been. Rockstar has been, but again, when's the last time they released a game?
When was the last time? Exactly my point. When was the last time they
They
released
do
a game?
this.
Yeah.
They don't release them boys until they're done. That's just what they do. They did that with
Red Dead 2.
Red Dead Redemption 2. They knew it wasn't going to be able to trump the sales of Grand Theft Auto, but they took their happy old time making it and made sure it came out well.
Every game they've released has been a hit.
This one they didn't have, I feel like, as much time making it because they are using Unreal 5, and Unreal 5 has only been available the past few years?
8.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
Unreal 5 I thought it just
2019.
No, Unreal 6. Unreal 6.
Yeah, that's what Unreal 6. That's what it is.
Yeah, Unreal 5. They've been developing, bro.
So I was thinking of Unreal 6 with the the hyper realism shit that they have.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna use that for the game.
Yeah, no.
Unless they do a re-release.
Yeah,
They'll probably. Yeah, but
And even then, that'll probably be just one version of the game. It'll either be the multiplayer or
Actually, Unreal 5 was 2020.
It was 2020, not 2018. Okay.
Exactly. So it was, but they didn't even start designing the game until 2 years.
And it wasn't fully released until 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, exactly. 2 years. Oh wait.
Yeah, that's how it works.
2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah.
That's how it works.
I knew I was right.
Development companies do that all the time. They'll use the game. That's kind of what those production phases are. For instance, like you'll start working on the formats, you'll have all the models, you'll have the characters, you have the schemes. That's what full development is when all that stuff starts getting put together. So they only need the engine for like that last few years of development. When it starts pushing through, they really only need it for those last like 2. So I'd say for a game that took like 4 years of development, they need that engine for at least 3 out of those 4 years. For a game that's been working for like 6 years, 6 to 8 years, for instance, Cyberpunk, a majority of Cyberpunk's time in development, they were working on they were working on an old engine for a very long time, and then like the last 2 years before the game was supposed to come out is when they started importing files and putting work into the newest engine and getting things moving. But engine development
that's where the problem comes. That's where the problem comes because they hit the problem with working with old engines, and I can tell you this straight up, is that when you try to transmit your code over, it can get
messy.
There are multitudes of things that can happen with your code. Okay,
all the time.
So therefore, you have to move it in a certain way. And then you also have to be like, okay, I need to edit this for this. I need to edit this for this. Because there's an easier, like with each engine, there's an easier format that you could have it. But then sometimes they don't even account for the old format. So therefore, you now have to edit your old code to meet the new format so you don't run into bugs. And that's why bugs happen.
Yeah. But that's like most of the time, like, especially back in the day when people were using Unity to make video games a little bit too often. That happened a lot with Unity. I remember I couldn't use some of my programs or things that I model, for instance, in Cinema 4D, I can get into Unity, and it would piss me off.
Wait, you couldn't get your 4D models into Unity?
And with certain programs, Cinema 4D in particular had an issue.
Wait, I think I know about that particular one.
Yeah, Cinema 4D in particular had some issues with Unity for quite some time. It was not the best. Also, if you're on an Apple computer, you had some issues with it. Yeah, a lot. Not the best.
I mean, if you're on an Apple computer, you're just screwed.
Mhm.
I mean, back then that's what everybody thought was going to be like the future.
Well,
So
no,
everywhere you went,
Apple
there were
computers
Apple.
were great for designing work. Let's
Mhm.
be honest.
Yeah,
That's-
everywhere you went at that point in time, if you were going to
Yeah, okay,
Tri-C,
so-
if you were going to Case, no matter where you went, there were just Apple devices everywhere. And then like 3, 4, 5 years later, by the time we were getting out of high school, they're like, yeah, don't do that. Goodbye.
All right.
Let's get this night rain going.
Right. This is going to be an
Yo,
interesting
you
one.
ready? You ready?
Because what is even happening? Do they even know?
I mean, they made it. Gee, have some faith, bro.
I don't even know what's happening, but it's Elden Ring.
Is it
All I say is co-op and boss rush.
co-op bus rush battle royale?
It's Elden Ring.
Eh?
So they obviously know what they're
Elden
doing. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, so apparently like everybody is like speed is enhanced, so like they like you like trot around the fucking map like fucking like you're on crack.
Is this a battle royale?
Yes!
Yeah. To an extent.
It's a boss rush battle royale. No, not to an extent. You literally jump in Fortnite style. Like that's your battle bus. That's the battle bus. That's how you spawn in. That's how you spawn in.
I don't think I'm replaying this.
Yeah.
Battle royale.
Boss rush battle royale.
So you don't fight each other?
No.
It's co-op. That's why I'm like, it's not. It's a battle royale, but it's not really a battle royale.
What are you doing?
You have like a certain amount of time. Apparently, you get spawned in. The thing is like freezing up. I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
Like really bad.
Yeah, it is a lot.
I went all the way up to HD 1440p. That might be an issue.
Either way,
Unfortunate. Well, what are we talking about?
you're playing on the website. So it's a battle royale, but like,
Yeah, pause it. We can't see shit. It's not.
yeah, it's
Too bad. Ugh, it ain't working out. And why is this one getting messed up and all the other ones were fine?
The other ones are fine.
I would try to run it back to lower the quality.
I did. I put it on like 720.
Skip.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait. Actually,
The skip.
pause real quick. I just want to ask a question. Yo, Brent, what editing software do you use?
DaVinci.
Oh, okay. That's actually a pretty good one.
All right.
Tragedy must be averted.
Yeah, so like it's like a
I need your help.
co-op boss rush battle royale that mixes Dark Souls and Elden Ring characters. So it's not an Elden Ring continuation or anything. It's a whole standalone thing. So like you have like the Nameless King in here for some reason.
Yeah.
But it's like it takes place in like a pseudo Limgrave essentially.
With the wings. I mean, I'm definitely about to be on this.
I
I'm
don't
not
think.
gonna lie, I'm intrigued to at least figure out what it's like. I enjoy fighting the bosses in this game, so
Yeah,
having
Mr.
a
Hack
homie
and Slash. Yeah, Mr. Hack and Slash.
Right.
it's not gonna go. I'm sorry.
You thought I forgot.
You don't have to forget. It will always be how I feel. It's never gonna change.
It's
Think
not.
about it, run in there with a greatsword. You gonna run in there with the
I'm running
greatsword?
there with the same weapons I use in other hack and slashers like Dragon Age, spears and long swords. I say Dragon Age.
Okay.
I mean like Dynasty
That's where
Warriors.
I lost my brain. I was
I
like,
meant
bro,
Dynasty Warriors.
dude. Okay, Dynasty Warriors.
Yes.
Your game. That new Dynasty Warriors looks really good.
Yeah, it reminds me of the old ones that used to come out
It
back in the
brings
day.
me back to like the real true Dynasty Warriors.
Pause the video.
The 1v1 fights that
Pause the video.
What is that? Oh, go away. They finally brought back the 1v1 fights that are like synonymous with the series from back in the day.
You to have to fight that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
think,
Voodoo feels like an old boss from back in the day.
dude, it looks really good. I don't know. New Dynasty Warriors looks great. I love Dynasty Warriors on the Xbox.
It's been pre-ordered already, so I'm just.
I mean, I pre-ordered Monster Hunter already.
Wilds, let's get it.
Yeah, dude. Wild. I mean, that's my game of the year.
You haven't played it yet.
I mean, no, I did play it. I did play it.
In your heart.
Okay, sir.
Wait, Brent, you played it too.
Say
What
what?
do you mean? You played it with us.
I barely remember.
Okay, we played for an hour, but like, it's my game of the year unless Witcher 3, unless Borderlands 4, or Witcher 4, and then or GTA 6. GTA 6.
What about Civilization 7? That comes out in February.
Listen, I can enjoy a good Sydney, but come on.
In this year, fuck that game, bro.
No, really.
And by the way, Frostpunk 2 did win their award as well.
I mean, I already knew that. Right? Like,
Yeah.
you knew that. Like,
Yeah, it was nothing winning that
I
one.
was right except for 5 votes. So all my votes were right except for 5.
Yeah, that
And I
Mario
was
Kart
like-
was there too. I really
I
thought
mean, I
that
already knew
was
them.
family.
Yeah, it won Astrobot.
Yep,
And
I figured that one.
And that didn't make any fucking sense to me. Because Astrobot should not have won that one.
It's a single player game for a family
It's a single
category.
player game.
But it was so generalized, and it was like literally QT.
All right.
What's next?
I'm still thinking about it. All right, let's go on for this next one. Let's see what we got. Epic Games, you said.
Excuse you?
I definitely understood that role. Oh, it's this one. Oh yeah, I'm actually kind of hyped for this.
Colossus.
My wife is so happy about this.
Icon.
This game is gonna be fire.
This is
This
gonna
game's
be
gonna be
good.
fire. This game is gonna be fire.
No, it probably.
Last Guardian was fire.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was.
I enjoyed
in the
that game.
nominees. It was in the nominees for Game of the Year.
Mm-hmm. Dude, when they came back with that game, I was like, this studio's back? And now they're like,
Yeah, Shadow of the
literally back? 2 games?
Yeah.
Like in 10 years, dang near? Like, that's pretty good. How long was it between Shadow of Colossus and Last Guardian?
I mean, let me be honest. This feels like just like climbing the long necks in Horizon Zero Dawn, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's where Horizon Zero Dawn got it from, was Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
The original.
But this looks so fucking fire.
Oh my god.
Look at this! Dude, I'm so hyped for the story. They're really good at storytelling.
Oh yeah, no, their stories, especially like from a no narrative standpoint as well. Like you barely get any actual dialogue in these games.
Getting beat up by some rocks.
She just made it out.
Was that a rock? Yeah.
This is like robotic parts.
Yeah.
Whatever the shadows were in the
Distance was crazy looking. I don't know what that was.
yeah, but that's what hit the robot.
It's always something.
But those were like black. It looked like the hands.
Yeah, but I think it was just might have been just shadows of something, and then they hit the stuff, and that destroyed the building because like they had a timer to get out before the horizon hit them.
Very true.
I don't know. It's so cool.
Oh, that's wild. I want to know where it's going.
Just ask a bunch of questions.
I need to see gameplay. I need
Me
to see gameplay,
too.
but like,
Please.
I know they're gonna make a good game. They're gonna make a good game.
This right here, I'm really excited for. Dispatch is
Same.
Dispatch is definitely
Dispatch
gonna
looked
be
interesting.
something I'm playing multiple times.
This looks so good.
Let's go. Dispatch. The Walking Dead, The Wolf Among Us.
Are we supposed to be getting the Wolf Among Us too?
Yeah.
At some
apparently.
point?
This is their new studio, so hopefully they're still working on it.
We'll see.
Wait.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yep.
This game is top tier though.
Buy another team.
Dude, the choices. The choices.
It's how smooth they go from one to the other. It makes me wonder if it's actually going to be that smooth in game.
It probably won't. It'll be a lot of choices probably. Though that you pick your eight.
Yes, my shit right here. They choose Chuck Perfect song.
You want me to sit in an office?
Yeah, this is
Dispatch Bruce?
In exchange, we can keep Megaman.
Yeah. Come on, come on. And the light.
If there's a crisis in the area, we get a call, and guess who answers? Me.
Too easy.
Dude, the matching. This is like gotcha game. Gotcha game.
What are you doing in Visigow?
What?
Is that your car?
The car's stolen.
That's gonna be a weird insurance claim.
Long pop is different.
I'm hoping the soundtrack is actually like some shit like this.
All of you in this room, set
I
this
think this
program
soundtrack will
right
be
with your bullshit.
right out.
You're right at home.
But I'm more interested in the voice choices.
You're a nerd playing a video game.
Voice acting in the commercial so far, so it's fire so far.
Dude, if it's like these, like it's gonna be sick. This game is gonna be good. Indie game. But Dave the Diver.
That's
Dave
not
the
a-
Diver. I don't know if their
You know
new
what?
thing is.
Help yourself.
You gonna eat those sweets?
What's your name, little guy? My name's Pete and I'm naked. Oh, no. I refuse to believe that's what he sounds like.
I'm down.
Yeah, I can't wait for that game.
They
Dude,
caught me with the vibes.
Okay. 2024 might not have been a great video game year compared to the last 2 years, but next year is gonna be insane.
These two games right here is all I need next year right now. This is gonna be nice too. We just gotta see this one real quick. Ace.
We sure cause a lot of explosions.
It's cool how he based his characters off of his daughter's
His
name.
daughter.
That's cool.
Oh, look, this guy's this is an interesting developer.
He's really unique.
Next co-op adventure called Split Fiction. Now, let me tell you this. Get ready for a ride.
Really unique. I like
You
that.
play as Mio and Zoe, two aspiring writers that hope to get published by a new tech company that can simulate their stories to life.
I can't do this.
Please calm down. Accidentally, they end up in the same simulation.
What are you doing in my story? Something bad is going on here.
And there, they find out that their stories are about to get stolen.
Oh wait, this trailer shows something different. Wait, no, it didn't.
Save them, they have to escape back to reality through the very worlds that they created.
This so many different worlds. This is gonna be very
and Mia
interesting.
writes sci-fi, while Zoe writes fantasy. So you will, for every level in the game, jump
When
to
he
the sci-fi
explained
world.
how they evolve,
and the fantasy world.
and this is why I said like it takes two to evolve the form of
We'll taste
player,
that love variation, and you'll have a unique mechanic
you know,
for every
split
level.
screen game.
Oh, yeah.
It evolved it.
And this level,
sure.
you start out by
Most
fighting
definitely.
Dragon X.
And this
We
is
needed
just
that.
going crazy. But that's what I'm saying. The last three games have all evolved their
Then they become a little bit bigger dragons.
four now. Evolved their
And they go up to be fierce dragons.
Category, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you can fly around, kick ass. In another level, you play these ball toys that can magnetize and shift to different forms.
Fusion.
It takes two.
Yeah,
Did Green.
Your exosuits.
We had Elden Ring, and then we had
And hack different objects.
the last one, Astrobot. They all evolved.
Here's another one. You play as pigs, and they later become.
And this game comes out next year too. And did this one game of the year?
yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
This
They
man's
literally-
just like, can this do it? Can this do it? Everything can do
Dude,
it.
like this next year, you know, like you understand how big gaming is gonna be next year. We have all the massive communities making a game next year. All the 4 people who won Game of the Year last year, or the last 4 years, are making a game this year, including GTA, including Borderlands, including Witcher. Like, I don't think, like, how can 2025 exist?
I would be very surprised if Witcher comes out next year. I still would be.
Witcher 4? Yeah.
Mhm.
It would be a surprise if it comes out.
For me, I'll be surprised. I wouldn't say it is a surprise. I'll be surprised.
I'll be surprised if the Intergalactic comes out next year.
Same. That will definitely.
I think with no gameplay, and we got to release the end of this year with no gameplay, we haven't even gotten Pragmata.
Right?
And to be honest, I want Pragmata to come out, but we haven't gotten it yet, and I don't know when it's going to come out. And I want it. I want that game. You know what that game is, right?
Pragmata?
Yeah.
I've heard of it. I haven't like looked into it yet though. Is it time? Should I?
You should look up that game. It's really, really good.
I'll save it.
It's like The Last of Us. I would compare it to The Last of Us.
Okay.
Future and aliens.
That's a win right there. Ooh, that's a win right there.
What would happen to next?
All right, now this one is probably gonna be game of the year for me. I'm hopping on the train. This is game of the year.
You're wait, bro. You can't do that. No.
Studio
You can't be the only one, buddy.
Knights of the Old Republic, Part 2. Neverwinter Nights, Part 2. And
See, I know this game, but this is not much of a game.
Part 2.
Game of the year.
I feel like, okay, hold on, real quick. I felt like that was like a double joke. Like, I feel like that was a joke not only at the Fallout TV show, but also at the fact that they made New Vegas. And like, they pretty much made New Vegas, put a lot of New Vegas into that TV show, and then also they made it.
Richard, Part 2. We've included everything that should have been
This
in
game
the
will
first
be
game.
cool though.
More action.
That game. It's falls in the same niche as GTA.
And more graphics.
How exciting.
Get ready for an adventure that took 3 times longer to make, but will almost certainly be 2 times bigger.
Okay.
Bring him back to the future. Try not to break it again. The Outer Worlds 2.
I'm not interested in hiring any more idiots. I'm looking for people of tact and vision and perspicacity.
Yeah, that's fire.
Yep.
May I ask why you think that might be game of the year?
It'll be my game of the year probably if it's better than the first one. I thoroughly
Your game of
enjoyed
the
the
year?
first one. I thoroughly
Over
enjoyed the first
everything
one.
that's happening?
I don't know what's coming out. I know this one will.
Okay,
No.
Rated, yeah, that's fair. GTA 6 is not guaranteed.
I just don't know.
I don't know either. I want GTA 6 to come out next year. I do. Do I believe it will come out next year? No.
No.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
I don't think it will come out, but I want it to. And
Yeah, that's all you can say with
I want to be able to create an OF on GTA.
On GTA?
What?
Yeah, on GTA, I want to be able to create an OF.
Insane.
I respect it.
Wait, like, what you mean? Like, dude, if I can't do everything I can do in real life on GTA, then I want it. Like, this is the 6-1, bro.
Hey, I mean, I've already seen like on RP people they found a way to play like NBA games on the actual TV.
What?
So like they'll be chilling in the game watching the actual like live game.
What's next is integrated VR helmets.
Yeah.
Okay. Imagine GTA 6 VR.
Yeah.
In game.
Yeah. Online be crazy.
Like, we no longer have to just sit in the Discord room and watch a basketball game. We can watch a basketball game in Grand Theft Auto.
Be in your mansion. Post everybody up.
On the radio while going to pull up.
Yeah.
We about to go and pull
With the
up.
YouTube attachment. So if I want to be able to have in GTA 6, if I have my TV, I can go to the internet, and as long as I have an internet connection, I can then search up stuff on the internet on my TV in GTA.
I should be able to pull up like YouTube or something.
I just want to live in GTA.
I should at least be able to pull up like YouTube or something like just.
Maybe like the hub, but like the YouTube. I should be able to play YouTube off of my TV in the game.
Yes.
Dude, imagine that, dude, in VR. But like,
That's what I'm saying. It'll be lit.
Dude, GTA 6 could be so bad. Like, it could be so good that I could lose my brain. I will live in GTA 6.
I am very much curious what they're gonna bring to the table with that one.
I will live in GTA 6 if they do that.
Bro, I don't know how people in your life will feel about that.
Okay.
My wife will hate it, but like, you know what I mean? But nothing. But then. Imagine living in GTA 6.
Oh my god. It hasn't come out yet.
A career in Grand Theft Auto 6.
You can be a streamer in GTA.
Wait, like, okay, hear me out. You bring up your phone in GTA 6, but it attaches to your camera. So then you're just like
live streaming.
Like, but so you stream your camera right here, and then but like in GTA 6, and then you see a little picture in GTA 6 phone, and you just and then you could add like an
You can already do that with like VR headsets. You can like open up your Twitch chat and just like post it somewhere.
That's what I'm saying. Just integrate the game with VR helmets, and it's done. Like it immediately becomes the best
I want to
IRL
live in
game
GTA
imaginable.
6. Yeah, I want to live in GTA 6 for a year.
It hasn't even come out yet, bro.
Let it come out first.
Just RP GTA 5, bro. Just RP GTA 5.
Right?
No, I can't do that yet, man.
Get yourself ready for 6.
I can live in Grand Theft Auto 6 before he comes out, but I can't live in Grand Theft Auto 5 on
I need to live in GTA 6, dude. Do you see those women dancing on the cars, bro? I need to be there. I need to be there, bro.
They caught you with the thirst trap trailer. Insane.
Oh my god. He's falling for it.
I'm trying to be down bad in GTA 6.
They fuck the gooners, man.
Oh god.
I'm not a wait. Well, I'm not.
He said he need the hub on his phone. He need to be able to put the hub. Like it's just yeah, I think I just let that shit slip. Yeah, you forget. Yeah, no.
No, Brody, you're not getting out of this one.
No.
We found one of those step on me, please, boys.
No.
I would never get stepped on, bro. That's kind of crazy.
You a dingy? That's what you like?
Oh no.
That's not what I mean. Please, oh man, no, that ain't me. That ain't me.
Look, man, I understand. You know, you saw them trailers and it just caught your attention. Now you just trying to live your life.
That's why I say Fairy Tale sucks.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Okay, I really did not anticipate you on saying that. I really you on saying that. This new Fairy Tale season is fire.
No, it's not that it's fire. It's just that it's fairy tale. Like it's like, oh yeah, there's more fairy tale happening. If you like that, I guess. I've been over fairy tales since like it did its whole revival just to do nothing with it. And then it was just like, okay, cool. And then it ended then, and then it came back for some reason. And then they're just still doing the same thing. But
hold on, we're doing the anime talk.
yeah, we're gonna talk about animes coming back. We need to be talking about Metal Gear getting another season. 2 for 1 episode. You thought it was done? No.
Okay, I will say this for the audience: we are definitely slack. So we do need to invest some time into getting another anime episode. We're gonna catch up on what we've been watching. Oh man, because it's spilling out everywhere.
If it hasn't been aired here.
Yeah, we gotta watch at least this trailer before we get on up out of here.
Yes.
We actually have to watch it.
Yes.
We do have to watch the Power Wars trailer, yeah.
That's good.
I love it, but
big Sony ponies out here.
Power Wild. Survival Power World, baby.
You're throwing Pokemon.
It's literally just turning into art.
It really is, though. It really is. Yeah, and I'm fine with that.
This season is. This is the fucking season of Digimon with the fucking guy who was punching Digimon Tamers.
Oh yeah, insane.
Digimon Data Squad.
Let's go. Digivolution.
We fucking beat up, bro. And you out here just trying to.
Okay, they got armor. Okay.
They got a village.
We got frame drops.
Okay.
Glad to see that some things haven't changed.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the same thing.
They're back.
Okay, they got like.
You summon the creatures around you now. You don't have to fall in.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, it's because the
Hey, Bridge. I like the name.
You know why, right? You guys both know why?
What? Oh, because of the whole lawsuit with Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They actually changed it about a week ago.
Okay. Yeah, because that was what the lawsuit was about. It was about the catching
Yeah,
the.
they changed it.
Did you guys see see
You
that.
guys,
Slay the Spire
wait, Slay
2.
the Spire 2 is about to be insane.
I also think this would be very interesting. I didn't think they would do this.
Wait, did you play the Slay the Spire 1?
Yes, yes. I love games like these.
Dude, this game is so good, but like Slay the Spire 2 only has 4 characters. I mean, they're definitely gonna add more characters.
They will be added. Definitely.
But it looks like a really good game. I'm just not sure on release. I'm not sure how it would do.
I mean, I feel like it'll definitely get the base like Slay the Spire fans. Its name will probably carry it the rest of the way because it is like touted as one of the best like card based.
We're going from a lot of characters to like only 4.
Hey, look, if Destiny could take all your guns away and still get you to play Destiny 2, I'm sure Slay the Spire, a roguelike game, which often takes stuff from you, can get you back.
Well, no, Hades 2 is looking really good. We didn't hear anything about Hades 2, which it should be releasing next year, but we don't know yet.
Will it be releasing next year?
It definitely should. It definitely should because it was an early release.
No. Because they said they were taking the rest of this year for the early development. Then the way they were releasing it, they were going to release updates every.
It's in early access now.
Yeah, but that it's in really early access because they said they're going to be adding new stuff. I think like every month or so, beginning next year. So I think they're still taking next year to develop still, and then they'll release in 2026.
I would agree with you unless because like with the first game, the way they did it was like early access. It was about like 8 months later that they released the game.
Yeah, I mean they might not take the whole year for it, but I don't know.
So I don't know. Like it was.
Because I just feel like I remember that's what they were talking about as far as the way they were doing the development.
You might be right. Honestly, you might be right. It might take longer to. I know. I mean, I don't understand why they would early access it earlier this year and then like wait a whole year and a half.
I mean, that's what I was saying about it when it first dropped that they were doing the early access like that they were like dropping it and then like. That's why I said I wasn't buying it until it was doing it because they're like updating it as it goes.
I'm not buying it until. Hey, I'm not buying it until.
What does Larian call it when they do that? Because Larian has their games on like a weird like pre-alpha mode where people are at least able to play through like the first part, and as they update the game, they're able to play through those things.
It's just early access.
Is that early access as well?
Yeah.
It should be fine. Like Larian had Baldur's Gate 3 was in early access for what 2-3 years?
Well, okay, Baldur's Gate 3, let me be honest, that's a different...
Divinity was the same way, though. Divinity Original Sin, they did the same thing.
Well, yeah, that's the same company.
That's what I'm just saying. Like, if Baldur's Gate 3 is different, then they did the same thing with Divinity as well. So, what's the difference
they were kind of crazy.
Could last as long as you wanted to.
Well, yeah, it's as long as you wanted to, but... With Hades 1, because I opted into early access for Hades 1. It wasn't really that long that I waited in early access where the main game released and they did patches after.
Survive.
So I'm thinking this company might do the same because like even in their previous games, Transistor, Bastion, all these other games, that they have released them quite fast. So. I think it'll release next year for sure. I think Hades 2 will release next year. Whether we'll win any game awards next year, I don't know, man.
Hey, look, if they're smart, they'll wait until they hear about everything else before.
But like, why do they need to win any game awards if they're gonna make money anyway?
It's more about securing like the best time because games like those do take time. And like the more time people play on them, like the higher the chance you have of them telling other people about it, or for the streamers, if they're consistently playing it for a long period of time, that's more people, more viewers, more people.
But if you don't release the full version, you'll lose traction too.
I'm not quite sure if that's necessarily true.
Definitely true.
They did over time. I don't know if that's necessarily true. Like Baldur's Gate did the exact same thing.
But I feel like those are different like type of style of like storytelling as well.
Yeah. And Baldur's Gate is a D&D's like a lot of people are going to be like, oh, I want to be able to make my D&D character on this, and Baldur's Gate actually offers that a lot to make your specific D&D character on their game platform. So I think that a lot of people were just like looking forward to that. You know, not everyone is going to buy into the beta test, but I do think that having the beta test open and trying and like playing the game, though, if you don't do something within like the next year and a half, like or 2 years, actually, let's just say if you don't do anything in the next 2 years, you're gonna lose your traction of certain players. You're like
But
these
which
players
ones
were
do you
like,
think you're gonna lose?
mm,
I don't think the core audience is gonna go anywhere. Like I think the
I mean,
competitive
they're not gonna be playing the Hades 2 the whole time. Like, sure, they might come back to it when it finally fully releases, but you're
exactly.
going to lose that retention as far as like the people who are playing it as it comes out. And then the issue with that as well is that once it finally does release, it might get an issue where like the people who did play it early, that's what happened with like stuff like Hello Neighbor, where like it took so long in early development and all that, and it like got so jumbled up in its like early development because it was like doing all this bullshit that like you saw all these YouTubers were playing it when it first was like in early development, and then when the game actually dropped, barely anybody touched that game.
no
Um,
one turned it.
and it was also because it was the ass at that point.
Right. I think that at that point they actually lost a lot of the people's attention. Like most people weren't even paying attention when the game was coming out and that it was coming out. And also, I wouldn't say no marketing plan, but their marketing plan was abysmal. There was no trailers
Yeah,
behind
it
what
was.
they had
It
prior.
was really
They
bad. It
didn't
was
ramp
really
up
bad.
to it or anything. They just released it because they noticed that people had stopped paying attention and that the traction was gone. I don't think Hades is gonna have that because one, Hades is a lot bigger. Two, it's already made its fans off of its game, not off of an alpha. It made it off the first game. This is just a way for people to be able to, get a little slice or feel of it before it comes out. How the marketing, I think, is what's going to allow for the game to stay in the zeitgeist of gamers or not.
No,
If they decide to do
but
absolutely
Hades,
nothing, then
they've
okay.
never been. That company, Supergiant, has never been good at marketing.
I mean, they
You
didn't have
understand?
to be good for the first one.
But
That's what I'm
they
saying.
didn't. Well, no, it's not even Hades 1. It goes back to all the way to Bastion, right?
Mhm.
Their first game. They've never been good at marketing, but they've always produced an amazing product of a game. But
And
they
those
do it
things
as
sell over time, more likely.
but
Yeah.
they do it over a certain duration of time that is like congruent. So I do think this is like this all points back to what I originally said. I think Hades 2 will release next year, and so then I'm like, okay, yeah, this lost that time. They've just always done a really good job, but and people are going to buy the game. But if they wait 3-4 years, I don't really think because we have things like Raven's Watch.
I mean, I wouldn't think it would take 3-4 years in development for that.
It should
It
not.
would, but it's just like as as far as like it will like lose that retention.
Like that would I definitely would think waiting 3 to 4 years for Hades would be a
It would
problem.
be really bad. And Raven's Watch is another game that competes heavily. Same art style, same it's the same genre of game, and it's really really good in co-op. And so like other games will come out like this, and then okay, yeah, Hades 2 releases, but then is it really renowned at that point? Right? So I don't think. No, it won't be. That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
I don't even think. I don't think it will be more renowned than Hades 1, even if it came out tomorrow. I don't think that's going to be a
Hades
thing
2 will be better than Hades 1.
I didn't say better. I said renowned. I think that's. I think that's a completely different thing.
I do think it will be. I do think it will be.
That's fine. I think it's one thing to think. It's another thing to look at facts. Facts say most of the time you make a sequel to a game, it's not as big as the first one. Most of the time. This one, not only did it break records, this thing was really, really big. Not only does the game have to be better, you would probably want it to pop off the same way that the first one did when it came out. And like you said, if they push the game back too far, that's not going to happen.
I'll give you facts about this company. Every game that they released has been better than the last. Every game they've released has been better than the last. Transistor, Bastion, Hades 1. There was another game. There's an in-between game.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because
I played it.
my main point is that none of those are sequels.
Yeah, they're not sequels, but they don't have to be.
My point is only based on sequels, not on the fact that they've made other games is only on the fact that it's a sequel.
Pyre was
I
been
remember
pretty
Pyre
good.
too. Pyre was good too.
Yeah,
Like
it was best
this
transistor,
studio,
Pyre, Hades, Halo, Phase 2.
this studio to me is similar to I can't remember the name right now, but for some weird reason, Quantum Break, Control, Alan Wake, they release a game.
Oh, I see.
The
I see
game
what you're saying.
doesn't. Yeah, the game itself, it doesn't have to hit renown when it comes out. It will eventually and always probably will be known for what it is because they make really good games. But it being more renowned than the last one, I'm not quite sure. I can almost guarantee you Alan Wake 2 is not more renowned than Alan Wake 1 is, but Alan Wake 2 is a better game than Alan Wake 1 is. It's about
Is it now?
how it'll take time. I think it's the same as with Alan Wake. It's the same. I think with this studio.
No,
They can
because
release the game now.
I feel like in that case it's a little different. I feel like it's a little different in that case because Alan Wake, I feel like it's more of a cult classic, and it doesn't have that big of a and just because of the time exactly. But I feel like Alan Wake 2 was more of a bigger drop off initially than Alan Wake 1 was.
And give it another year, 2 years, I think we're gonna see the same thing with Alan Wake 1, where as that universe expands, people go back to it, or new people come in and then they start playing.
I mean, I feel like people will go back to it, but I don't feel like they'll see it as more renowned than 2 because 1 was still very loose. It wasn't even connected into like the universe of.
I never said it'll be. I think that 1 is still considered more renowned than 2 is. I think if we give it another 3 years, that's going to switch. It will be 2.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't think so. I think 2 is already started off more renowned because.
Okay, let's be honest. After sale prices, let's say that because I think that's renowned, right?
No, I don't think so. That's just.
Renown is more of a. No,
Yeah.
renown is more of a people's opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't come from
I see. That's how you're looking at it.
Because
Okay.
Alan Wake 1, for instance, it dropped when it first came out. It was not a big commodity.
Exactly.
There were a community of players that loved it, yes, but it had the same growth as Dark Souls. That game took like 2, 3, 4 years before it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and its fan base is what talked it up. By the time we started getting Quantum Break and Control, the universe itself was so big, people started going back to Alan Wake to figure out those connected pieces because the universe.
But even that, it was still very niche. And then even with that, like people didn't go to Quantum Break that much. Like Quantum Break didn't like outsell like anything. I got that, but still, once Alan Wake 2 actually dropped, it was definitely dropped as a more renowned title because it was already built into that universe and everything. There's way more to explore in that cadence. While Alan Wake 1, though it is the predecessor, there was none of that actual built up storytelling yet for those actual interconnected worlds yet. So you do still have.
This is based on Max Payne.
Yeah, that's fine, but the actual universe that we get to where with Quantum Break and Alan Wake 2 is nowhere. It was nowhere near what that is today. And so that's what I'm saying. Like Alan Wake, going back, it's standalone in that case because it doesn't have any of those like Easter eggs or connections to that world. Now, yes, it is the predecessor and it gives you that like building block. They've retconned a lot of the portions of that and like even changed like some meanings of like what happens in that, even though it is what starts the universe, whatnot. It's still diamond technically like the actual part of the actual like with Quantum Break. That's a whole alternate universe with that's supposed to like take place that's apparently like part of the world. So it's not even necessarily a direct connection to
in their universe.
Exactly.
Most that Quantum Break idea that they had multiple universes that could all be having the same things going. It was their Marvel.
Yeah.
It was their Marvel
Right.
pretty much. That was where they were able to explain
To the original point though, with Hades 2, the way there's not really so we have Hades 1 storyline. It's like the same as Dead Cells base 1 storyline, right? Except Hades did it a lot better. And then we'll have Hades 2 with a fully voice acted same. Actually, they said it's going to be a longer story. So that would just build on top of that. I don't see how a game like that ever fails.
I don't think
to
it'll
be
fail.
less renowned. To be less renowned than the first
I
one.
mean,
it's for me. It is about what. It's about almost like what renown is to a lot of people. I don't think renown in something separates in a lot of people's mind from nostalgia. The more nostalgic something is for you, I think the more renowned someone will think something
But that's
is.
what I'm saying. We're only in 3 years of
I know that what I'm saying that all this was predicated on the fact that we were assuming if it took longer than a certain amount of time to
Oh,
come
okay,
out.
okay, yeah.
That was
No,
if it
if it
takes
took
that amount of
longer,
time, I
yeah.
think all that does the game will pretty much do the same thing that I thought that the studio that made Control and Alan Wake does. I can't get their name
Yeah.
right now, but like
Yeah.
it will do that same thing where like these
Super
games will
Masters.
then bolster the original, and it will
I mean,
allow
but
for
when
their
whenever
all
I
of
think
it to
about
boost higher.
that company, I'm like, for me personally, I'm like Control.
Yeah, yeah, but
I love that game.
good games sell. Like if it doesn't matter if it comes out and it starts off slow, a really good game almost always picks up eventually, or it just needs people to play it.
Remedy.
So it's
Tell
I
that
just
tell that to what's that game? We just talked about it with Alloy.
Horizon
Horizon.
Zero Dawn.
Yeah, Horizon Zero
I
Dawn 2.
mean,
Tell
even
that to
then,
that.
those
Tell that to
sales
that.
numbers were still steadily increasing over the last 2 years. I don't think it'll ever get to the
Yeah,
point where it's like
it has
talked
increased.
about or the biggest thing ever like God of War. But in my personal opinion, maybe this is just because of the side of the internet I was on. I don't think the first one had that effect either.
No, the
It
first
was
one
a
had a
great
lot of
game.
effects.
People really enjoyed it and liked it, but they also fell off on it and stopped talking about it about 3 months later. I remember because Final Fantasy happened and no one cared anymore. But
So,
this is
so to give you a side of you, Horizon Zero Dawn 1 had so many cells, actually.
Mhm.
It
I
had
pre-ordered it. I was one of them.
like 20 million, bro.
Mhm.
Like
I got that Ultimate Edition. I remember.
that's insane. 20 million for a game cell? It's good.
Sales rarely ever contribute to what people actually are talking about. Like it's for instance, like
No,
I can sit and go back and look at all the games that have sold well in the last 5 years, right? And if you go and you look at the games that sold well right next to them, there'll probably be about three other ones that sold well within the same 2 month period. But only one of them you're hearing about every day for the next 6 months, like with
I'm
Elden
saying
Ring.
it made good money. I mean,
Hmm.
okay, we can't compare it to Elden Ring because
But that's my point, though.
those
Like
are the higher echelons.
Yeah.
Horizon had an Elden Ring. Like both times it came out, it got overshadowed by something else. And even though it sold well, it was the zeitgeist of the community. What it didn't have its attention on that game. Something else overshadowed it. That happens a lot in the video game industry. For instance, with Astrobot. Astrobot came out and everybody was talking about it, but it got overshadowed by everything else that was happening in my community because of
I don't
Re
think it got
Fantasy.
overshadowed. I don't
Because
think
of
it
Re
got
Fantasy.
overshadowed.
For mine, Re Fantasy was the only thing I was able to see until right when Astrobot got announced for the Game Awards. Then my YouTube just started showing me more Astrobot, Astrobot, Astrobot. But the way
Yeah,
that
your YouTube because that's the way YouTube works.
But that's the way YouTube works, but that's how most communities work. The more people search for something, the more people look up something, the higher it gets trending, the more people look it up, the more they're going to recommend it to you, so on and so forth. The people guide that. So even though somebody's buying something and the sales are going on, if you're not talking about it, the zeitgeist isn't really getting bigger. People aren't really.
Voted for the people vote was okay. Can we talk about this?
Go ahead.
Brent, the game of the year.
Yeah.
Are we there?
Yeah.
We're there.
We can do it.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Because people voted for Black Myth Wukong to win.
Nah, I bet they did.
And then we didn't really get that. But
Yeah.
I understand why, but then at the same time, people love Black Myth Wukong. I think the general populace enjoyed Black Myth Wukong more than Astrobot.
Mm-hmm. But it didn't matter.
No, not at all.
That's why I feel like most of these things they just don't matter. Is it people?
It sucks.
People will sit and do all this stuff. They'll upload all these videos, talk about it, but all that is just content. These people are literally just farming on what is being clicked on so that they can make content on it. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's the biggest rush in the world. It
No,
doesn't
it's
mean
not.
that it's making a bunch of money. It just means that they can make money off talking about it. You have to look at these things and see where the actual community is guiding itself. Sometimes it's not about what the biggest content creator is doing, it's about what the smaller content creators are doing, or how many comments or reactions they're actually getting, how many people are actually finishing their whole video or just sitting and clicking on it because of the title or it's their favorite creator. It's hard to figure that out sometimes, but in video games in general, you see it over the years how the games affect people. That's why I use Alan Wake as an example. Started off extremely slow. was able to build its own audience, and all of a sudden, the entire franchise is considered to have been built off Alan Wake, but not Max Payne, which is the thing that actually started it.
Yeah.
But then,
It's,
how do you explain anomalies like Balatro?
well, Balatro is not, in my opinion, anymore an anomaly. Balatro is a prime example of a good game being a good game and getting its just desserts. Another example of that to me is Disco Elysium. Disco Elysium has all the hallmarks of a game that nobody
Oh.
should have been voting for or playing or even consider being top greatest selling game of the year. Shouldn't even have been close to that because of how much freaking reading people had to do just to play it.
Mhm.
But for some odd reason, it got so high in a place where nobody liked games with no voice acting anymore. Then
Oh,
they
yeah.
re-released it with all of it voice acted, and it actually sold less than it did before. Because the main thing that people were getting into it was the talking about it, the feeling of it, what people were saying about it. They didn't really want to play it. So when it came out, they just watched other people play it.
So then it brings me back to the main point. Isn't the game okay? So basically, what I'm saying is, a game that is dictated by the people should win. Then.
No. Because
No,
what
no, because if we're agreeing that Balatro deserves to be up there, then because of people, then we have to say that the game of the year should be decided by the people.
Unfortunately, it is supposed to be decided by the people, but like I said before, like with those content creators and how the internet drives people's opinions and views and what they see, it's a lot harder to do that when you're seeing something else. For instance, I don't even I crap you not. It wasn't until 2 weeks before the Game Awards started that I even heard about Balatro. But apparently, I've been doing
No,
so
same.
well.
Same.
Yeah, but apparently
It's
I've been doing so well for so long. But that's not the first time that's happened to me. It happened with Slay the Spire. It happened with
That didn't happen with Slay the
it
Spire.
happened with Absolver. It happened with another. There was a few other games in the last few years that have been like indie games that just popped up out of nowhere in Game Awards right before the Game Awards, and I was like, oh,
Oh, I remember this game.
what is that? And I would sit and I would look into it, and all of a sudden you kind of find out there's a bunch of people playing. It has consistent numbers, but these things, they're it's weird. It's like the culture just needs the right people to talk about it, and it will shift people's mindsets on how big something actually is or how good something actually is. I feel like the train ride of Astrobot is what gave those votes out.
Let me be honest. I knew Astrobot was already a good game, right? When we did our whole thing, I even defended Astrobot to say that like the way it was innovative, it was really good. But that's not to say that. Okay, the only reason why Astrobot won was because there's a lack of video games.
That too.
That's true.
Let's be honest. And then secondary, it's like, okay, Black Myth Wukong was a fantastic game, but it didn't do anything new. And so then I'm like, okay, well, if we look at the last 3 years, and maybe this is coping.
No, you're right.
I look at the last 3 years, and I'm like, oh, all these games did something new. And so, obviously,
Astrobot was good because it does something brand new and bringing innovations to the community.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, well, that's cool.
Do you really think more people voted for Astrobot than Wukong this time?
Hell no.
Now, this is why, when we first started, I actually said I would love it if they would split up these votes for me. I want the board to vote for something, and then they get the board's award. And then I want the people to vote for something, and then they can get the people's award.
Give it its own reward.
I don't know how these two things are weighted. In almost every other award show, I know how those things are weighted. I know that the
award went to Black Myth, bro. I don't really get how.
It's like, I know for a fact that these people, they just weigh too heavy. Like, it even baffles me that IGN is on the board after IGN ran multiple hit pieces on Black Myth Wukong before the game even came out. We're talking about how when the first trailers came out, how it looked like it was going to be a fake game and they were just trying to get money from people. IGN was on the board after literally running the hate train against this game for over a year.
Let's be honest. IGN, no. There are certain things I like from IGN. If it's anything
Barely listen
because
to Little American, but I got you too. I
no,
feel
no,
you.
because like literally sometimes they just like they get a certain. I know they have a certain person to like rate certain like JRPGs. They have a certain person to rate, these type of games, this type of game, and I'm
Mm.
like, okay, sure, you played a lot of games, but like this opinion is so crazy. I don't know. Like,
I feel
and
the
I know
same.
it's their job, and they rush through the game. I feel like
That too.
they play for 4 days. They put in 90 hours, and
And then they're
that's
also
too hard
expected
for
to write a
anyone.
script about that boy too, and
Yeah,
upload the video like
and
before
that's
the
hard.
day of or the day before the game comes out, which is
That's hard.
ridiculous.
That's hard. And so I can't really gauge that that's a fair judgment on the game. If they were taking their time throughout the days and they came home from work, with a nice cup of coffee and they played the game, they might have a different variable for the game. Like, they may have a different opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. The way that the review process for mini games, I feel like shines more when it's someone who actually enjoys the game and the community and the games that come from that gaming community.
Yeah.
So, GameSpot, for instance, they have a lot of people that do their interviews at GameSpot, but the ones who do reviews in particular are people who like, love, or have had a lot of experience with those games. I watched the Gundam Breaker interview because I just wanted to see what he would talk about, and they had a guy from GameSpot on there. He's also the guy that did the Gundam Breakers review. He's also the guy that does the Gundam TV shows review. He's the guy who everything Gundam. He's the guy who does it. It's weird that IGN had the guy do like I think the guy who did the Alien Isolation interview. I mean, not interview, the Alien Isolation review. The guy who did that had never played a survival game before. And I was like, why would they have him do this review? And that review got skanked on for like years. People were destroying that review for being like for an excuse for why IGN is someone you shouldn't listen to. And like, you got to make better choices when you pick these people.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But do you think that some people should have like channels that are from two different appearances of reviews, right? Like one person who is versed in it, and then on the other like last 3 minutes, have someone who is not versed in it say, "Hey, this is how I enjoyed it as a new person coming into this." I think that would be a very interesting dynamic to have for reviews, so that some people who are looking to get into it or interested in a beast might be like, oh, this is kind of cool, or what is it like from a new player perspective, something like that.
And the idea of content, I would thoroughly enjoy that. I actually think that for content in general, I think a more uh, compare and contrast slash debate mindset for review games would actually probably do very well with the Days List system when it comes down to how we digest content. I think
Yeah.
people are already looking for more negative things, and people are also looking for things that can be controversial. So if two
Yeah.
people are comparing, contrasting, and also debating about a review for a game during the review for the game, I think that could do a really good job.
I do too.
There are also, for me, all I care about, you can have the wildest opinion in the world as long as you can sit me down and point to actual facts that
Why
support
you
your
feel this
piece,
way?
why you feel that. I'm probably not going to be too mad at you. I
Yeah.
will agree, I will disagree with you, but if you can tell me pointedly why you think A, B, C, and D, I'm just gonna have to accept it, and I'm okay with that. Like I listen to a lot of people do video game documentaries. Those docu-series will be like an hour, 2 hours long, and it'll take me like 2, 3, 4 days to finish them. And some of them are really, really good, like extremely pointed.
I watched there was one podcast that I watched about the whole startup from a Nintendo and then its downfall.
Yeah.
And like I kind of understood all it already on like why downfall, but like it was just a really interesting podcast to to listen to from the beginning ups and downs of Nintendo to the hierarchs to like where it is now. I do think they have risk. It's like a slippery slope, right? Like a mountain thing. But
which is probably really good for their stock.
Yes, sir.
Probably really good for their stocks. They get to just stay like minimal, They get to have their ups and they get to have their downs, but they never really bankrupt.
Their stock, yeah, their stocks kind of stays the same.
Yeah, they get to just stay in a single spot for so long. It's good.
It's the same. It's not like Apple. Apple sucks. If you yeah. I do like yeah.
Once they announce a new phone, they're back up.
Probably
The first update for that phone.
Day
They're back
trade. You could
down.
probably day trade with Apple right now. Like
Oh my
honestly,
God.
if you had the money, you could probably day trade.
Most definitely. But like, yeah, to keep that on that, your opinions are your opinions. As long as you can support them, I think it's perfectly accurate and it's fine. I just think that the fact that people absorb so many other people's opinions before they get a chance to touch things themselves can sometimes affect things like these voting runs. It's even
1,000%.
more so when there's members on the board and we don't know who they are. We don't know what they're voting for, why they're voting for, what their agendas may be. But I would shit you not, having IGN on that board pissed me off.
That would make sense.
They got a whole agenda against these guys. Get them off that board ASAP. And definitely from this point on, split those votes. I want to see the people's votes, get an award for that, and I want to see the industry's votes. For two reasons, I do think having the industry do like reviews and critiques on their own will do really good at making the award show feel like an award show for people in the industry. Because right now they don't really feel like that. They feel like it's just a place for them to share, for them to accept rewards and then share trailers. That's it. It just feels like a show. I would like for them to feel more involved if their peers were the ones reviewing them rather than the people who send death threats and threaten to kill them for making a bad skin in a video game be the ones to do it. It just
No
doesn't
facts.
get the same, I don't think.
No, 1,000%. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just a matter of like if we can get the people's voice in, or at the very least get a know-how like who or how these votes are attributed outside of like the people's choice and everything, so that it's more straightforward on. So it's more straightforward on where it's coming from and where they're getting these tools. Otherwise, it just looks nefarious, especially like you said when you have stuff like the IGN issue with them being on the board smearing one of the candidates most of the year. So it's
And an even bigger point that you mentioned that the developers of Black Myth Wukong felt like I think they said this, but it's also really hard to tell because of the way that they translate it. Some people use AI translation, some people were using actual translators, but everything that was being said just didn't seem like cohesive sentences. But they were crying after they did not win Game of the Year. It's really hard to come from China to America, especially to accept an award. It is really hard to get out of that place to come here for anything. They were able to get here. They came to accept that award, and their main, at least what it seems like, their main gripe is that they didn't know what the qualifications were to be Game of the Year.
Right.
They're like, we had the most players throughout the whole year. We kept a consistent amount of players, and we definitely had the peak most players. They said that we got a lot of sales. We had this, we had that. We don't know what the criteria is at the end of the day.
Okay.
And I feel like if this was the people of the business, if this was their own people reviewing their works, critiquing their works, and giving them awards for it, it would be very easy for everyone in the business to know what the criteria is, and everyone would know what that Game of the Year would be and what the industry would pick because they're part of it. They'd be talking about it all year long, and we'd be able to see that, and that would give us a better idea on what video game developers are thinking about the games that they are making, rather than it just being us voting on things. And they don't give a crap about what we think. Us voting things on games where the only people's opinions they care about are each other's, and they don't give each other awards for it.
Isn't that exactly right? Like that point you made, Roel, at the end of that day. Like, if we give a criteria for what Game of the Year is, and everyone kind of consistently agrees, right? You'll have your outliers, but if everyone consistently agrees, that will give a goal for most companies to work towards, which would make more good games. Like, right? Like, it would make more good games.
Right.
People will aim for that. They will aim for being Game of the Year, and they will aim for being this thing that people enjoy. And
hopefully having these things like
That sucks.
written
That we
down on
don't have
paper
that.
would be easy. Like I think it sucks because the weird shows like this and the stuff that we kind of vote for with our wallets. Not all of us, but a majority of the community does. It
Most
just,
people.
yeah, it sucks because they can't. Like, what information are we delivering to these people? It's so many people with so many varied opinions. Like one person would sit here and say he hates microtransactions, but if they look up that person's account, kind of find out he spent 3K on this game already. He's yelling at us on Twitter, but he spent 3K this year, so he obviously doesn't care about spending money on these microtransactions. Stuff like that would be the reason why Ubisoft will always exist. We can sit here and cry about it, but there's people sitting there buying it. So
Well, COD exists the way it does because people buy it.
yeah, for that exact same reason.
And EA exists because people buy it.
For that,
Yep, until they start putting their wallet where their mouth is in that sense, and and actually,
doesn't matter.
exactly,
No one would care because you're gonna get guaranteed money. Just
exactly.
put the new players in.
Same like those pre-orders and everything.
Graphics.
That's why you're starting to get so many games that are dropping so badly because like you get all these pre-orders where like the early release games where they already have your money, so there's no real incentive to give you to deliver a good product because we already have your money. So what's the point of getting make sure that
Bandai does the same thing. The new anime comes out. Let me make a square, triangle, circle, combo for each character. Release it. Boom. You
Yeah,
gotta fighting it.
that hurts me the most sometimes as well. Like when I see, because then you have studios that are like the guy who makes X Takes Two or Larian Studios, and their owner, CEO, and director,
Like 1-2 people.
they care. Like they vehemently just care about making good games. That you can sit and talk about all the extra stuff, and they'll look you in the face and just be like, "Was the game good? I didn't need microtransactions. As long as you're buying it, we made our money. We can put that money towards making the next game." It's the problem with it's the idea from them, I think, from the video game and developers' mindset. Developers want to make games and use that money to make another game. The company wants to use that game to make more money.
Money.
That's it.
But-
They
but-
only want to
but
make
it's
another
exactly-
game if that game can make more money too.
You remember the person who came on stage and he cried and like honestly, that was really touching. But you understand the reason why he did that? Like, it was because he wanted to make a foundation for people to actually come and develop games without having to worry about the money aspect. And then later during the same show, we got a person coming on preaching the Bible of gaming. Honestly, God tier fucking human. Dude, he literally said, "Bro, we come here to make good games. We come here, and it was the guy who made Baldur's Gate 3. It was him. And, yeah, dude, God fucking tier human. Like literally, he said it. He hit it right on that note, where it's like you design the game that you wish to play. You don't design it because you want to make money. You don't fucking design a video game because you need to make some quota and some shit. No, you design a game that you wanna play. You wish that always existed, and that will always sell because there are always people who were like, "Damn, I'm gonna enjoy that game
you
too."
want that exactly.
It's beautiful. I like when you see people who are in the realm of art just being here to create art.
Exactly. Like that's like the best thing that comes out of it. Like the money will eventually come, like you said, like at some point. But when if you put the money first, like you said, you have to create a game first around that business aspect so that and that becomes a business. And sure, but you can't build a business around a game or whatnot. So, but with that, I think we'll have to call it. We're running really long here.
We are. Oh Lord.
Is it 4 hours? Like 4 hours?
Nah, we're about 3.
Oh, okay. This is the same.
Exactly, and that was on a reading long, so that's what I'm saying.
It was good to get this out, though. Happy to have you all here listening to us, talking to us. Chips and Dip, thanks for joining us again.
Yes, the special guest popped in. Exactly. I was gonna invite you back for the Game Awards. We got how much time you had. So.
Hey, Yeah.
My boy just popped in.
I said, let me see what's up. You know?
That's good. That's why you're part of the group. You can pop in. You can talk to us whenever you need to.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, my boys. If any final thoughts there on the Game Awards or anything?
I think for my final thought.
Good job, Astro Boy.
Yeah, I will say this for my final thoughts. No matter how much I may hate the idea that they did it, good job, Astrobot. You truly did innovate, especially when it comes down to the ability to use a controller while you're playing games.
I mean, like y'all just stated with the whole Sony Interactive thing, exactly. Like, I mean, come on. I mean, but we're never gonna divulge further into that or whatever.
Yeah, but I do thoroughly appreciate the fact that you guys came to listen to us banter out and talk our heads off today. And that's all I gotta say. Y'all have a good night.
Yes, thanks for joining us up. Chips and Dip, you have anything else you want to add on?
That's it, bro.
All right, well, yo, thanks for joining us today. We gave us our final wrap-ups of the Game of the Year results. You know, a little misgrievance here and there, but for the most part, you know, like you said, everybody just came.
I was only wrong 5 times, and by the way, 3 of those times were mysteries. Like, I didn't know it shit. So,
All right, so yeah. Thanks for doing this with us. All right. So yeah. So those are the Game Awards. And yeah, we've got some pretty good games coming up as well, so we're excited to see those. Yeah, we'll catch y'all on the next episode.
Have a good night.
Deuces.